You guys have probably been using Zoom a lot, so I think you would know the functions of Zoom. So let this be a two-way interaction. Let me know where you guys are from. Type in the chat which country you're from, or you want to let me know which town you're from. Also can go ahead, type in the chat so I know where you guys are from. Then this helps me to know you a little bit better and see how best I can serve you. All right. Okay, type in the chat. I want to see where you guys are from. Singapore, Pakistan, Indonesia. Okay, Frida, Singapore. So I missed the name. So Valentine, Thomas Lee. Okay, I think some of you were from my earlier class together. Thank you guys for joining in. Okay, so while you are here, to make this a very interactive way of the webinar, I would invite you to turn on your cameras if you want to. Okay, if you're not the shy type, you want to turn on your cameras, go ahead. Okay, this will help us, feel a little bit closer. I think in some of you who were in the class earlier today, probably realized that we discussed quite a bit, right, about the gaps, social media, you can meet people in person. So if you want to turn on your camera, by all means, we'd love to have, we get to see you on camera. That'd be really, really nice. All right. So while you guys are getting comfortable, okay, I'm gonna share my screen. So give me a bit of a few seconds to get things in order. All right. Okay, so just give me a sec, make sure everybody can see what I'm screening. Okay, all right. So can you guys see my screen? Yes, give me a thumbs up or type yes in the chat so I know you can see my screen and everything is going great. All right, so thank you guys for the thumbs up. All right, so those of you who are tuning in and you can see this. All right, so tonight I'm representing Noble Sky International. Okay, we've been helping people grow their wealth through US real estate since 2014. So the company has been around for a bit. I have been in the company for about 3 years plus now. All right, let me go through with you what you're going to be learning tonight. Okay, first and foremost, before we begin going through the contents of tonight, there's a question that I need to ask you. Okay, is this relevant for you? Okay, and if you find it relevant, where and how can you use this information that you're going to receive today? All right, so let me ask you, if you're here tonight, this is really for people who have financial goals that you want to achieve. Okay, if you are here tonight because you do not have a financial goal, you're just here because you want to find out what US real estate is all about, go ahead, that's fine as well. But this is really going to benefit those of you who have a financial goals and you actually want to do that. You want to be able to achieve your financial goals faster, quicker, right? And in a more predictable manner. I think that's what things that people are looking out for. And most importantly, if you're doing it, especially a lot of people are doing this because they want to plan for their retirement, right? For their family, or maybe, they need to fund a certain financial goals that they have, right? So is this you? Okay, is this relevant for you? Let me know in the chat, type in the chat where or what you are doing investments for. What are you in here for tonight? Maybe things like, for some of you, right? If it's retirement, type in the chat retirement. If it's family, type in family. Or what other reasons do you have to want to look at investment options? Okay, let's hear from some of you guys. Okay, if you want to sound out Frida is saying diversification. Okay, great. So if you're saying diversification, I'm guessing you already have other types of investments as well. So maybe you're looking at what are better ways you can also put in your money. Yeah, I get that. Daisy says retirement. Thank you, Daisy. So this, I think, applies to a lot of people. We want to plan for retirement. How about anyone else? What do you guys have? Come on. Right. So here tonight, we need to make this two ways so you guys can actually benefit the most from tonight's webinar. Okay, financial freedom. Presenjit. Okay, so I know financial freedom is something that people really want to do, and I think it ties in with a lot of how you want to achieve, you want to live your life, right? Your lifestyle and all that. Okay, so Michael says to have more info on investments and able to plan for family. Great. So Michael, I think you and me are very in sync. We have things going on in our lives and we need to plan for that, right? So it becomes very, very important. So especially some people who may be in the finance industry, right? If you're in the insurance industry, if you are in maybe real estate, these actually forms part of very important vehicles to help people plan for their retirement, for example. Okay, let's move on to what this can do for you. Okay, so I know some of you have already shared, right? That you have, you want to plan for family, you want to plan for retirement. What really is the value of you learning tonight, if this is something that's going to help you to get there, let me know the dollar value. Okay, so for me, my dollar value is for retirement is $1.5 million. Okay, 1.5 million Sing dollars. That's how I will that's the amount of money I will need by the time I reach the age of 60. Okay, for me to run or rather live comfortably on $5,000 a month. That is more or less the kind of money I need, $1.5 million. How about you guys? Type in the chat. Let me know what numbers are you looking at. If you haven't thought of a number, or maybe this is just the first number that comes to mind, just shoot it up. Irene says two under. Okay, I'm not sure what she's saying. Okay, Nora says 10 million. All right, 10 million. That can happen. I think a lot of people make money through investments. They grow their money so over time. Freda says 1.5 to 1.8 million. Okay, that's a good number. I think, Freda, I can tell you're someone who probably has done your math. You have done kind of good planning, and you this is kind of number that you're looking at. All right. So anyone else has numbers? Oh, Irene says you want to understand how to invest and how much is needed. Okay, great. So tonight we probably won't talk about how much you need for your own investments, for your own retirement, because everyone have their own numbers, right? So your retirement goals will be very different from mine and maybe from Michael's and all that. Michael, very interesting numbers, 1.5 million for retirement and 2 million for kid studies. Wow. Okay, I know this must be coming from Singaporeans, right? So to fund our retirement becomes a very expensive endeavor. And hence why you guys are here tonight. I think you are in the right place because you want to discover what type of investment vehicles can help you get there, right? So Chen Jueshi, sorry if I got your name a bit off. So it's 1.68 million, all right. So everyone is in the millions, right? 1 point something million. How far are you in getting there? Okay, put in for me. I know you guys have got good numbers. Let me know how far are you. Maybe you're 10%, 20%, 50%. Frankly, for me, to reach 1.5 million, I am right now maybe about 50% there. I'm only about 50% there at best. Okay, some people maybe very close already. Some people may be further away. What kind of numbers? What percentage are you? How far are you from your numbers? Wow, Michael, I almost thought you said 98% there, but I saw the second word, which is apart. So Michael, you're 98% apart, which means you're 2% there, which is perfectly fine. The questions then we need to look at is how much time do you have in between to help you get there, right? So then we need to look at the types of different vehicles out there. All right, so Michael, anyone else knows how many percent you're there? How close or how far are you? Okay, let me know. So this gives you a better idea. Freda have 40 plus, so you're about 40+%. That's a good number as well. So I'm happy that I'm here tonight with the right group of people who are actually very concerned about your numbers that you want to achieve, your financial goals, and you already have a good gauge of where you are, and that's very, very important. Okay, so you understand the potential of what you'll be learning tonight is as good as the amount of numbers that you have actually planned in your mind, okay? Because what I want to share with you tonight is that US real estate can help you get there, okay? But we're gonna do it in a very realistic manner. I'm not here gonna to sell you any real estate or whatsoever. I want you to understand the process and the strategy and the concepts of how US real estate can help you get there. All right, so you guys ready? Okay, so today we are really seeking to solve a few problems which you might be facing when it comes to real estate investing. Okay, so this is one of the most common thing that I know people face when it comes to real estate investing. They know that, wow, so many people make lots of money, and if I can make, not 5 figures, maybe 6 figures is possible, right? If you sell a property, say in Singapore, for example, even a HDB, for example, a public housing, you can sell it maybe 5-10 years down the road, you could potentially be making 6 figures, right? But in order to be able to buy a property investment, it becomes a very expensive endeavor. So a lot of people, when they come to us and they tell us, okay, look, I love real estate, I love what you're sharing, but capital is something that I do not have enough of. And we're gonna explore what that real problem is and how US real estate is gonna solve it for you. Okay, point number 2, I know most of you are here tonight, you probably have a day job. Okay, let me know in the chat how many of you have a day job. Type in yes if you have a day job. Type in no if you are right now already retired and you're just happy. Michael says yes. All right. Valentin says yes. Frida says yes. Prasenjit says yes. Okay, so those of you who are in my team Noble Sky, definitely you have a daytime job, I'm sure. All right, and And we are so busy with our work and daytime. What we really want to be able to achieve with your investments is to free up your time, right? Not actually get into additional work or additional things that you need to handle, like manage investments and things like that, and make you even busier than ever. Okay, so this is the second problem which people always share with us, that they don't have time to look at investments, to study the market, to see how things are gonna pan out for them. You know, they all have numbers like you guys, they want to achieve, but they just have no time to even think about it. So this is something we want to help you guys overcome, right? So the point number 3 is the volatility of the market. And this is something that I am getting very, very afraid of myself. Because today, what is the most common thing that we hear in the market? Anybody can share? What do you guys hear more of? Traditionally, there has been like stocks, right? Maybe Forex. What else is new in the market? Can anyone share? What else do you know that is new in the market that people are actually investing in? Yeah, NFTs. Michael says Bitcoin. Anything else? NFTs, Bitcoins, binary trading, right? Anything else? Forex. Okay, so you guys can see even from just the number of you in here, you realize that there's so many investment vehicles out there, right? And a lot of them comes in very volatile forms. Okay, personally, we have had clients who can grow their money in 6 figures within a few weeks, and then within 3 hours, lose the whole value of 6 figures down to maybe just 4 figures. Yeah, we've had people who have gone through this, and personally, I've seen myself. You know, I put in a little bit of money in the cryptos, and for some coins, you know, because you think that they're trending, that the market's going up, maybe you can achieve like maybe 500% growth within just a few minutes, and that's amazing. But the next few minutes as well, the whole thing comes crumbling down, right? So I think that's a big problem. And this is something that we need to be able to deal with, be able to manage, because we have serious numbers that we want to achieve, and we have serious reasons why we want to do that. And as some of you have already shared, is because of your retirement. This is something that we can't play around with. You have your children's university or studies that you want to pay for. This is something that we don't want to play around with, right? So you don't want to put your money, a good sum of money, into a market where overnight it can just disappear. Oh, okay, great. So Irene has questions about how much is the stamp fee for Singaporeans to buy. The great answer, the short answer to you is there is no such thing as stamp fees over in the US where we're dealing with. So you don't have to worry about all of these things that Singaporeans typically worry about, okay? All right, so, but to me, there's a bigger problem with investing in the local markets. So tonight, as you can see, a number of us are from Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. These are intrinsic issues with regards to real estate investing in our own countries. Okay, I want to share with you what these things are. First and foremost, I think some of you are already asking, right? How to buy, how much it's going to cost. In our countries, especially in Singapore, if you want to talk about buying into a second property for investing, first thing that comes to mind would be, I need to take up a loan, right? I need to put in a deposit and I need to take up a loan. So a lot of the time when it comes to property investing or buying property for that matter, you will need to think about applying for a loan. And in order for you to apply for a loan, that will mean that you need to have good credit profile. So a lot of people actually may not qualify for them to get investment properties, especially if you want to buy a second property, third property, fourth property. Imagine if you were to require a new loan for every single property, that's going to require a lot of, how do I put it, credibility or credit profile that can pass the bank's very stringent requirements, right? Point number 2, there are very few discounted options. Most of the time when we buy properties in our local markets, we are paying very close to market value or at market value. Okay, in Singapore, especially right now, is the market up or down? Is the real estate market in the uptrend or downtrend? Okay, so let's see, I know some of you may be in the real estate industry. Is it going up or is it going down? The real estate market in Singapore. Can you guys share up? Type in the chat, up if you think it's going up, or down if you think it's going down. Or if it's in your own countries, in Indonesia or Malaysia, type in whether the market is going up or going down. Let's see. Or maybe none of you know what's going on with your own markets. Okay, that can be right. Okay, Frida says up in SG. Okay, anyone else has any thoughts? Market is picking up in Singapore for sure. Michael, thank you. And I think it's not just picking up, it's right now, it's red hot. The market is red hot. We have seen this in the news. We know about how there's a lot of properties, in fact, in public housing in Singapore, selling for over $1 million. And you have new BTOs now being developed in the town area, CBD, not exactly CBD, nearer to the town areas, and yet being so expensive, people still buy. There's still an oversubscription to these properties. Okay, one of the key strategies to buying properties and making good money, good returns from there, is really being able to buy at below market value. Okay, and for most people, especially when the market is trending upwards, that is just a dream that we can think about, but most likely you won't be able to get discounts, right? Okay, let's look at that later. Limited, and this for me is very true, especially in the context of in especially places like maybe in Malaysia, right? If you want to buy good investment properties, you can't just buy anywhere, right? You can buy in the outskirts where there is hardly any kind of demand. So if I were to be a foreign investor and I want to invest in Malaysia, probably I want to buy properties that's very near KL or within KL. And because I know there's a lot of demand there, because there's a lot of business activity, but I wouldn't want to buy somewhere at the borders, maybe somewhere up very high up north, because then there's a lot of land, there's a lot of properties up there that maybe nobody wants to buy. There isn't a very active buying transaction, right? So if I were to buy in places that's outside of the very hot markets in our countries, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, it becomes problematic, because then I may come into the market and be stuck with a property that I cannot sell. Okay, so that is the issue with limited. Low returns, and this is going to be what I'm going to share with you, some of the case studies with regards to the 3 countries here. Low or negative returns, and that is a really, really big problem, because you are in the market as an investment. What do you want to do? You want to let your money grow and work for you, so you get to your numbers, right? To your financial goals, not so that you actually lose money. So investment has to make sense. But unfortunately, within the Asian region, at least, because of a lot of economic conditions that we're thinking about, as we know of, COVID being part of it, you may not get the best kind of returns out there. Okay, duties payable. I think this Irene was asking about this, stamp duties and all that, especially in the case of Singapore. Maybe some of you who may not be in Singapore from, I think Valentine is in Indonesia. In Singapore, if you were to buy a second property onwards, you're going to be charged additional duties, additional taxes. Okay, it's very, very expensive. It can be up to 10, 15, or maybe even 20% of what you buy into a property. It goes into paying taxes, additional taxes, which doesn't make sense for an investor. Okay, and then the last part is about title ownership. So especially in the case where you buy properties with a bank loan, for example, the title will be with the banks and not with yourself. And then point number 2, if you were to buy into a foreign country, so for example, if I'm a Singaporean and I want to buy properties in Indonesia or in Malaysia, likely the case, I will not be able to get title to the property, and especially not title to the land. Okay, very, very hard for anyone, a foreigner, to be able to buy land in a foreign country. So you guys agree? And in the US, this is vastly different, and I'm going to be sharing with you more about that tonight. Okay, let's take a look at what it looks like. So the case in Indonesia is this. Okay, this is an apartment in where it is called a apartment Taman Anggrek. Okay, we're going to compare some of the properties that we have been to. Okay, this Taman Anggrek is in Jakarta Central. We, as a team Noble Sky, is very, very familiar with Taman Anggrek because it's very near Pullman Hotel. That's where we run a lot of our workshops. Before COVID, we run a lot of live workshops in Jakarta, and every time we run workshops over there, we will stay in Taman Anggrek. So if you want to be a landlord, right, you want to invest in Taman Anggrek, this is what's going to cost you. Okay, it's going to cost you in US dollars, going to be around $181,000 for you to buy a unit and be a landlord. And you'll need to put in about 30% of down payments, which is $54,300. You probably need to, the bank loan is going to cost you about $1,500 a month. The monthly rental is only going to be about $500 a month. And this is going to give you about 3.31% gross yield. Okay, at this stage, let me know, does this look like a positive return or negative return? So understand this, yeah? Every month you earn $500 rental, but you need to pay the bank 1,500. Is this positive or negative? Type in the chat for me. Is this a positive or negative returns? All right, Michael says negative. Frida says negative for sure. How about anyone else? What do you guys think? Zed says negative, all right? So this is clearly the case, right? So how do you make money from this particular property then? Likely the case, if I were a landlord here, what I do with the $500 a month is to help me reduce my loan on a monthly basis. But where I can really make my money will be when I sell the property later, if the market's on an uptrend, right? I sell the property later at a higher price, and then I get capital appreciation, right? So that's what probably you'll be banking on. Right. So what does the case look like in Malaysia? Okay, this is Verve Suites at Mont Kiara. This is also an apartment that Noble Sky as a company has always stayed here a number of times as well when we run our events in Malaysia. And this is a similar size property to, as per the Indonesian property. Okay, this is about 926 square feet. If you want to be a landlord in this particular property, this is what's going to cost you about $198,000 US dollars. Okay, the capital layout in this case, again, about 30%. If you were to do a down payment, it's going to cost you 59.4. Monthly bank loan for in Malaysia is lower than the interest rates in Indonesia, so it's only about 750 a month. Plus monthly rental you're going to get about 801, and this is going to give you about 4.85% gross. Okay, now we look at these numbers. Monthly 801, and then repayment to the bank is 750. Is this positive or negative? What do you guys think? Type in the chat. Positive or negative? Come on, guys. I don't think this is very difficult. Okay, negative, positive, but I like what President has to say, positive, but. Okay, so the but before cost is positive. Yes, so Frida, before cost is positive. That's right. So 801 less 750, you get about $60. To me, that is positive, yes, mathematically, but it is not very exciting numbers, right? It's not something that you're going to be able to probably achieve your financial goals very quickly. Again, in this particular scenario, what you're going to look at probably is like if the market's on an uptrend, you sell it for a higher price, and then you make your capital gains over there, right? And there are other issues as well in the market. So this, we're talking about some things that's going up and going down. This is just good for you to know, all right? So this is the situation in Malaysia. Okay, somewhere earlier this year, an article in August of 2021, the headline says houses at half price anyone. Okay, so this what is going on is because in Johor Bahru, right, there at one time it was a bustling market, right? There's a lot of development going on in JB. A lot of people, foreign buyers were coming in from China, from Korea, from Singapore, Indonesia, were coming in to buy lots of properties in Johor Bahru. But what happened was political landscape changed. So I think a lot of us are aware. This is not to blame anyone, but you know, this is what happens when there's things that's beyond control, right? So political landscape changed, the leadership changed, and a lot of plans got cancelled. And suddenly, developers are finding themselves with oversupply of properties. So what happens is some of the say in this case, the developer Country Garden started to offer its property at 50% discount. Is this good or bad? Okay, to me, good is good and bad, because if you were to be the buyer at 50%, you'll probably be happy, right? Wow, I now get to buy a property at 50% discount. But the one who has bought previously, imagine a Singaporean buyer in this case, who had bought in the year 2015 for 1.82 million, suddenly the value of his property has gone down by half. So you understand this market right now in Malaysia, in Johor Bahru at least, it's not exactly a market where you want to be in. So I hope you guys understand that. So this is where you need to be able to read the markets and understand what's going on. And in the wider Malaysian landscape, this is what is going on as well. So in October this year, this is what's being reported as 79 abandoned housing projects in Peninsular Malaysia. So this covers the whole of Malaysia, not just JB. So 11,000 buyers are affected. And a lot of this is because the developers have very weak management, very weak balance sheets, and viability of the projects are basically not there to start out with. Okay, so this is the market that Malaysia is facing right now. So if you're a Malaysian tonight and you're tuning in and you realize that, okay, I actually want to buy real estate in Malaysia, and then I want to make lots of money from there, now may not be the best time. Okay, so I hope you get this message. I'm not hitting on Malaysia for anything. I have a property in JB myself, which I have the same issue like the earlier article says. I do not know whether I can actually sell that for profit at all. Because in the area, Iskandar Putri is where I bought it, Putri Harbour. There's a lot of unsold properties in the area. So I do not know how I'm going to be able to sell it for profits. Okay, so that's the realities on the ground. And are Singaporeans having it any better? Okay, because earlier we said, right, the Singapore market's on an uptrend, so maybe we're not downtrending. So yeah, we're in a good market. So really, what is the situation for Singaporeans? So this is the reality. Let's take a look at an example in a City Lights. This is a condo outside of the CBD in Lavender. So understand this is even smaller. The earlier two examples in Indonesia, Malaysia was 900 plus square feet. In Singapore, it's only 678 square feet. It's going to cost you more than triple the cost of the other country. In fact, it's quadruple. The price is going to cost about $857,000 US dollars just to buy a unit in City Lights. Okay, what the numbers look like is this: you need to put a capital outlay of $528,000. And why is that the case? 528K is because if you were to be a Singaporean and you want to buy this property as a second property for the purpose of investment, the bank is not going to give you 90% loan, 80% loan, okay? By law, through MAS, that regulates the market, says that banks can only give a second property buyer only about 40%, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, it's only about 40% loan. So which means the capital outlay for a Singaporean investor, you're going to buy this property in City Lights, you need to come up with more than $500,000 just for the down payment. Okay, I do not know how many people have this kind of capital to start out with, right? But let's just take a look at the numbers anyway. If you were to take the 40% loan, you'll probably be paying about $1,700 a month. The monthly rental is going to give you about $2,160. Not bad, right? So let me know here whether this is a positive or negative return in your opinion. Type in the chat, guys, whether this is positive to you or negative. Again, right? Anyone? Okay, come on. Let's see what your thoughts are. Z, okay, you're saying what Prasanjit is saying, positive, but right, Valentin is saying negative, right? So of course the numbers look like it's positive, but you guys are right. Valentin, Nora is right. It's actually negative because if you were to look at the numbers, 2.71% gross yield only. Okay, capital to ROI is poor. Again, yes, Prasanjit is right. The numbers that we're looking at may not be very, very exciting, right? So this is the Singaporean situation right now. This was an article in October of 2021, just last month. This is what DBS report states, that investing in a second property in Singapore yielded relatively low returns over the past decade. So this is not just last year or this year, this is in the past 10 years. People who invest in a second property, private property in Singapore is getting relatively lower returns. So this is what it's talking about. So I think Irene earlier was asking about ABSDs, about stamp duties and all that. This is exactly the case. A lot of what you pay in this example that DBS states, in a $1.5 million property, which is probably going to be a condo, about 15% of what you pay goes to taxes. So understand this, if 50% of what you pay goes to taxes, this equates to you losing 15% of your investment value. You guys get it? So my question to you is this: how many of you out there want to buy into an investment where the moment you buy into the investment, you lose 15%? How many of you like that idea? Personally, I think this is crazy. I think this is crazy, right? Who would want to buy a property or an investment where the moment you buy and you lose 15%? And reality is this: if you understand what is an asset, what is a liability, right? This is like the situation in Singapore, at least when you buy a car. The moment you buy a car, let's say it's $150,000, the moment you drive it out of the showroom, you're not going to be able to sell that same car for the same $150,000. You guys get it, right? You're going to buy, and the moment you're going to sell it, you're going to sell it at a loss. You're going to be able to sell it maybe at $130,000. You're going to lose $20,000 immediately. And that's just crazy. So for sure, we know, especially in yes, Michael is saying, by depreciation cars, for example, in Singapore, it is a liability, it's not an asset. It doesn't help your money grow. It, in fact, takes up a lot of your money. I know because I'm a car owner, and I think those of you who even own motorcycles or buy or cars, you know that you lose money the moment you drive the vehicle out of the showroom. So same thing as what you were looking at here. So Singaporeans, don't be too happy. If you're buying into a second property, really you're not buying into good value. 15% is a lot that you need to make up for in terms of your returns before you cover that 15%. Right, so I hope you guys get the picture. Okay, now I want to bring your attention to this very, very important graph. Okay, this will show you the difference between buying properties in your local markets, examples we've seen, versus our way of buying properties in the US. Okay, the graph on the left, this is what it looks like, right? Very typical. You pay 30% deposit, and then maybe you take 60 to 70% loans. Okay, and then maybe you can have some kind of discount, maybe developer gives you some promotion, you get some kind of discounts. But as we have seen earlier, to make the money through rental, for example, may not be very exciting. You're making about 2.71% in Singapore, 4.7 in Malaysia, 3.3 in Indonesia. Those are not very exciting numbers that can help you get to your financial goals. You guys agree? Now I want to bring your attention to the graph on the right. What do you see the graph on the right? What is missing on the graph on the right? Type in the chat. Let me know, see if you're observant, if you're paying attention and you can see what is missing on the graph on the right-hand side. This is how we buy properties in the US. Now, Freda's very quick. No loans, bank loan. Yeah, bank loan is missing. Daisy says loan, bank loan. Okay, so very clearly, right? How we buy properties in the US is without using bank loans. So I have a question mark up there. If you were on the left-hand side, if you buy properties, you want to make money, you wait 5 to 10 years, right? Probably you look at the economic cycle and then, oh, when the market's going up, right, let's sell 5 to 10 years. If you were to buy the way we buy in the second graph on the right, do you think you'll need to wait 5 to 10 years? Yes or no? Tricky, right? Freda says no. I think Freda is a very good mathematician. She kind of understands here. So when you buy properties in the US, first and foremost, we can have potentially buy properties paying only 30% of the market value and nothing else. Okay, I'll repeat that again. In the US, when we buy properties, there is potential that we can buy paying only 30% of the market value and nothing else. Okay, so the rest of it is pure discounts. How many of you believe this is true? Give me type true if you believe it, or type false if you think this is just a scam. True or scam? True or false? You guys are just thinking, my God, this Farhan is trying to scam us tonight. All right, before you guys think this is something that is a scam, I will reveal to you exactly the methods, the strategies, the laws that come into play that helps this work. Okay. Great. So Michael says, not sure because don't know the US rules and regulations, which is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. Okay, let's take a look what rental looks like in the US. We have seen the Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesian example, right? You're going to do rental over there. What does it look like in the US? Okay, it's very simple. With a single family home example, this is a property in Jacksonville, Florida. This is a property that is owned by our investors. Okay, and here are the numbers, very simple numbers. If you want to be an owner here, a landlord, this is what's going to cost you. The property has a market value of $145,000. Okay, the acquisition, which means we bought this property for the investors at only $56,400. Okay, there was, of course, some works that we needed to do before we can put it up for rental. We needed to fix something, the interior, make it look good, change the, a few things, and then there was about $25,000 that needed to be put in and everything. If all of the expenses put in, these were all that was required to buy into this property to make it good. 86.4. How does 86.4 sound to you when it comes to buying a property? So numbers are in USD. Okay, so any numbers here tonight we're looking at will be in USD, Frida. Thank you for asking. So understand, when you spend only 86,400 to buy into such a property, as you can see here, you make an immediate equity gain of 58,600. Okay, you guys get it? So immediate equity gain means that now you have this buffer, which you can sell immediately, right? Do you need to wait 5 to 10 years? No, because you can sell immediately to make 58,600 if you decide to sell. But this property is a rental example. It's paying the investor $1,000 a month gross, okay? Gives you a rental ROI of 13.89%. So let me ask you guys, if you have the money, if you have 86,400, would you rather buy into this rental in the US, or would you rather pay for a deposit in Singapore? And Singapore deposit not enough, right? 86.4, or Indonesia or Malaysia. Which one would you choose? Would you buy into these numbers just by numbers, right? So Freda says definitely this, Nora says in the US. So for sure, right, because the numbers makes a lot more sense. For 86,400, you can buy into this property and you can earn a 13.89%. Understand in this example, there are no bank loans to be paid on a monthly basis because 86.4 is all that is required to be paid out in cash to get this rental property running. So I hope you guys start to see the picture already, how this works for you guys, okay? Right, so we have understood the major problems when it comes to investing in real estate. So I hope that tonight, as I'm going to show you how we're going to resolve these problems by utilizing US real estate, the regulations and the markets there, right? Like I think Michael was saying, this will bring you greater joy because now you can be able to afford properties that's going to give you great returns, give you less stress and probably more money. Right, that's what all of us are in here for tonight. Right, we want to get more money to achieve our financial goals. Okay, so here I am. This is who I am tonight, coming to you from. I'm actually the head and of marketing and communications at Noble Sky International. So I was formerly a senior officer in the Singapore Police Force for a good 8 years. I enjoyed working in the Singapore Police Force. It's an extraordinary career, as it's being said, but I had this thing going on in 2017. It's what you call the mid-career itch, right? So I was doing very well in the police force as a senior officer, but I was also very, very interested to run my own business. So some of you who are in Singapore, you probably know that as a civil servant, in the civil service, you cannot be doing business, you cannot be doing moonlighting or doing any other kind of business or any other kind of job that's earning income, right? It's going to be a conflict of interest. So because I came from a business background, I studied business, I was very interested in doing internet marketing, I was very interested in making money from the internet, and I was just so many, the world was like, I was so, something that I always wanted to pursue. And then being in the police force at that time, I couldn't do all of this. I had to make that decision in 2017, end of 2017, for me to actually resign and then pursue my other interests. Because I was telling myself, you know, and I'm telling my wife as well, of course I had to convince her, right? Look, I think I've experienced enough things in the police force and I want to move on and I want to pursue my dream, okay? But doing this as well, to pursue my dreams in entrepreneurship will also mean that, you know, I've got no more iron rice bowls. I've got no more income guarantees. What I needed to do was make sure whatever seed money I have is put in a place that helps, where the money is growing and can help me to sustain. And I had to put in place a plan that can help me retire still at my targeted age of 60 latest, with investments that's going to help me work for me, right? So right now, I'm very grateful that I do own a few businesses for myself. I run my own digital marketing agency. I have a team of 5, a small team, but we run marketing campaigns for small businesses. Okay, and also, of course, I'm heading the marketing department in Noble Sky International. I have a few other businesses as well. And most importantly, I'm coming to you here today because I myself am a US real estate investor since 2018. So it's been 3 years, coming 4 years now. All right. So before I joined Noble Sky International as a member, I was an investor myself first. I got to be introduced to the whole process. I was receiving the kind of returns which I thought was amazing. So when I was called on by the founder of the company to come in and head the marketing department, of course, I was very happy and I was very confident in this product that's going to help not just myself, going to help a lot of people like yourself here tonight achieve your financial goals. That, you know, some of you are saying that you are already 40% there, some of you are maybe 2% there. It doesn't matter, but this is a vehicle that's going to help you get closer. Okay. So I have for myself in my own portfolio 5 properties in the US and counting. Okay, so you can see the map here. I took this from a dashboard in my investor portal dashboard. It indicates that I have a property in New York, property in Florida, 2 in Texas, and in fact, a 3rd one is coming in. It's yet to be closed. So it's in Texas as well. So total, I have 5 properties, and I intend to build on these properties in my portfolio. So get more properties in, get more income coming in. Okay. Yeah. So Irene, thanks for thanks for the thumbs up. Yeah. So being a property investor became a reality for me because I knew real estate was something that people can really make their money from. Okay. Michael is asking which part New York is we actually bought for myself is in Orange County, New York. Okay. It's where the property is in. And there's a few other things. Frankly, if you were to ask me about the details, I do not know it myself. I have to look into my portal and then look at all of the property details, the addresses and all that, because I do this investment in a way such that I'm very hands-off. Again, I'm going to share with you a little bit of how you can be very hands-off in this whole process because of the systems in place that is working for me to get this business running and producing the returns for me. Okay. And why do I do this? So exactly like how a lot of you are in here for, right? I have 3 kids, okay, eldest being in Sec 1, 13 years old, the youngest being in primary 1, 7 years old, and I have one in the middle, primary 4. And I want to give them the best in life. Again, as with any parents out there, parents give me a thumbs up. So get your support, right? So I know parents out there, give me a thumbs up. Okay, how many parents do I have here? One only, I can only see 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Who else? No one else is a parent, don't bluff. Okay, so I know you guys are parents here, and a lot of what we do really are for our children, right? We want to give them the best that we can give them. Like I think Michael was saying about university, was it? To finance university, maybe they have aspirations to study overseas and things like that. And these are the things that we want to do for our children. Okay, and for me, the next thing is I want to retire earlier. Okay, 60 is my cutoff point. Though I'm actually, I've really not shared this with many people. My target really is 50. I want to target 50, and I got about 10 years to go from now. That's my runway for my investments to work for me to help me get to retirement at 50. Okay, and I want to leave a legacy. Yeah. So Michael, I'm at 40 now. So I give myself 10 years to grow to my number, to my target. All right, I want to leave a legacy, and that legacy is for my children because I want to give them a head start as well. So right now I can't hand over millions of dollars to them, right? But when they turn into adults and say if I'm no longer around, me and my wife, we can have a good start-up capital or assets that they can take over, and then hopefully it becomes what we call multi-generational wealth. And the last part, and to me this is very important for me, is I don't want to burden my family. I don't know how many of us actually think about this, and I have both my parents around still, and I'm very thankful for that. And because they themselves have taken steps to do investing in Singapore, many 40 years ago, real estate market in Singapore was very different, right? They could still buy properties on the cheap, and then the by now the value has gone up a lot, and my parents are enjoying the fruits of their investments. They are now fully self-sustaining. They're not working for a few years already, and they still have a chunk of money from their investments that's helping them to pay for everything, right? So that's exactly what I aspire to be as well. I don't want to burden my family, my children. I want to have a good income and investment that's producing and working for me on its own, that's helping me to sustain my life up to the point I'm no longer around, and my kids don't have to worry about financing me and my wife. So you guys get that, right? So this is why I do this. Okay, this is what we've done with people. So we have that understanding in Noble Sky. We suddenly realize that we have in our hands a very powerful vehicle, systems and strategies that's going to help a lot of people make a difference and achieve your investment goals. And I think that's really the baseline of why we are here today. And with that, we came, with guns blazing. We decided that, okay, I remember I joined the company in 2018, I actually joined the company, and we wanted to bring this out to more people, help more people to achieve their financial goals by using US real estate. And we've been doing this since 2017. So the company, Noble Sky International, is headquartered in Singapore. So of course we started from the Singapore market. As you can see here, we've been running a lot of live workshops. I think you can see me in the front row, the Noble Sky team sits in the front. So we've been doing this. Okay, Irene is asking a very interesting question. So Irene, some of the properties that I have in my portfolio, I don't have to sell it to give me returns. They are in Airbnb or they are in rentals. So I'm receiving monthly passive income. I think this is something that a lot of us would like to have, right? So some of the properties are giving monthly passive income. That's how it's helping me. So the more properties I have, the more passive income, and happier I'll be. All right. Okay. So just moving on, we started from Singapore, then we moved on to Jakarta. We've run more than 100 live presentations around Asia. We want to go to Jakarta, Jakarta being one of our biggest markets. So I think Valentine being in Indonesia, maybe you're in Jakarta. We love going to Jakarta because, you know, good weather, good food, good, nice, very nice, friendly people. So we've traveled up to Jakarta a lot, and you know, people are very, very nice. Then we've also been to Surabaya and Bandung, you know, to cover all of these very interesting places. You can see whenever we're in Jakarta or in Indonesia, we'll put on the traditional batik. So I always love that because all of the very nice colors. And then we have been to Malaysia, of course, our closest neighbors. We've been to a lot, basically most parts of Malaysia. I think we've been to KL, we've been to the east side as well, to Kuching, Sarawak. Don't think we've been to Sabah. Then we've been to Johor, of course, to several places in Malaysia. And then we've also been to Vietnam, right? You can see when we are up to Vietnam, we still run the workshops in Vietnam. We've also been to Cambodia and Thailand. And when we go to this, yes, Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi both. Right, yeah. So Michael, Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, we go to both places. So when we are in Vietnam, we are in Cambodia and Thailand. It's very, very interesting because when we are there, it's like chicken and chicken and duck speaking, right? We don't understand each other because we don't speak English very well. So what we need to do is to have translators in place to help us bring across the message. So, but it doesn't matter whether we speak the same language or not. What was important was, end of the day, a lot of these people who attended the workshop understood the advantages that they have in US real estate that's going to help them get to their financial goals. So a number of these people who attend the workshop eventually become clients of Noble Sky, and then we help them manage their investments. Okay, so this has been very interesting. I do hope in 2022, with all of this Omicron and things going on, everything dying down, I do hope that we can finally get to travel again and meet some of you in person, especially Cambodia, Phnom Penh. Yes, that's where we've been to Phnom Penh. Very, very interesting because, you know, all these different, very diverse experiences about investing and all that. And end of the day, it is all about the numbers, right? Which which investment vehicle is going to help you get to your numbers closer, right? So after doing this, what we really want to do is not just about investing. What we want to do is also build a community of US real estate investors. So you can see what's in the image here is, this was the year 2018. We ran an event for investors. So they're from Malaysia, Indonesia, from I think a few other countries as well. They flew into Bali to meet some of the partners that we have in the US. In the front row, you can see the founders, Rauf and Ice, and then the other strategic partners that we have that's helping us run this business together. Okay, they are sitting in the front row. So we got a lot of investors. Then I think about 50 investors that flew into Bali, and then we had a very fun time, you know, learning from people in the industry. Okay, and this is I want you to just take a listen to what Mr. Richard Jenny has to say about his experience with Noble Sky.
I'm Richard Janey. I am an owner of an agency back in Singapore, a real estate agency. I lived in Singapore for 40 years, always wanted to get involved in the US real estate, but I didn't know how. So when I met Rauf back in Singapore, he gave me the skeleton or the outline of how to do it. But I think when we came out to Bali, then I met all his counterparts in the US. And it was a very straightforward, open sharing session. So I think it answered a lot of questions which I had in my mind, and it gave us a lot of confidence. We now know exactly who we're going to deal with in the US, and we have a lot more confidence and knowledge now. So if you want to invest in the US, this is the place to go to.
All right, so that was Mr. Richard Janey, how he has been working with Noble Sky. So that's a little bit about how we help Mr. Richard Janey to buy into 4 properties in the US and achieve 273% of growth in his portfolio. This is what it looks like. Okay, so when he started out, this was slightly before 2018. So Richard Janey came in, he bought into a portfolio of 4 properties in Orange County, New York as well. So he put his own capital contribution of $45,000. Okay, and he was part of a bigger group of capital contribution, which so this $278,000 that you can see buys into these 4 properties. So that was the amount of money required to buy into these 4 properties. But understand these 4 properties has a market value of $760,000. And basically, if you understand this, you spend $278,000 to buy into 4 properties that has market value of $760,000. Your portfolio value, your net worth, right, technically grows by that amount as well. So you buy at such a low price, your portfolio value grows by 273%. So this is the kind of strategies that we apply to help people grow their money very quickly in the US. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you. So this is Pak Damadi from Jakarta, Indonesia. He achieved 25 returns from his Airbnb property in Houston, Texas. I do not yet have his video. He bought a property in Houston, Texas, and he started out with only $5,000 of his own capital. Again, part of a bigger group of capital contribution of $270K, but he only needed to put only $5,000 on his own because he was testing out the market and all that. But realize this property is not as cheap as the other type of property. The market value of the property is $370. Noble Sky helped the investors to buy this at only $270K, which is about $100K below market value. So the portfolio value grew by 37%, but it is giving a monthly rental ROI or an annual rental ROI of 25% gross. Okay, so I think this answers Miss Irene's question a little bit about, okay, do we need to sell the property then to make money? Essentially, no. So if you have the property in Airbnb, for example, you get monthly payouts. In the case of Damadi, Mr. Damadi here, he gets a monthly payout. So you compound that whole amount of money for 1 year, he's getting about 25% returns on his $5,000 that he puts in. Okay, so if the investors in this particular property decide to sell the property later, there is still about $100,000 to be made. And if the market is going up some more, then the value is going to go up some more. So I hope you guys understand this picture. Right, so after all that has been said and done, I want to share with you about this one particular person who is very, very important to the whole journey of Noble Sky International, and that is Rauf Syed. Okay, he is a dear friend and mentor for myself in terms of US real estate. Back in April of 2014 and 2018, I can still remember this very clearly. I met Rauf because I saw an advertisement online, right? So I think advertisements do work. It was on Facebook. I saw it was very interesting to get how you can invest in US real estate. So I replied to that advertisement, and I eventually got to meet Rauf. I think I met him somewhere in Tai Seng in front of the Breadtalk building. We had a sit down, and Rauf was going through with me the numbers, how they were buying and all that. So of course I had a lot of questions in my mind, and I was very skeptical. So he was sharing with me, you can do this and that. But what I did was I allowed myself to try it out because I saw that it looks like a process that can work out. And I'm going to be sharing with you that process in a bit. So Rauf on his own has started Noble Sky International as a business back in the year 2014. He is the founder and he's also the chief investment strategist. So on his own, he has assisted close to 300 investors across the world, and especially within the Asian region, to buy into US properties. Okay, and this is going into more than 50 properties. And right now I'm going to be sharing with you a bit more numbers there. So Rauf is pivotal. In fact, he's still the man behind the scenes who's helping Noble Sky International achieve to where we are today. And the very reason why you guys are here with me tonight is because of Rauf Syed, who's made this possible, brought everything together. So I want you to take a listen to why Rauf is doing this business. Okay, and I hope this is something that you can find some common ground, something that can resonate with you as well. Okay, just take a listen.
Many of us are looking for opportunities in life that will enable us to empower ourselves to drive towards our goals and purpose. Some of us might find that the jobs we had are just not enough and thus embark on another journey to win this game in life. I decided to take the plunge in entrepreneurship and investing, not in my own country, but rather halfway across the world in the United States. I left my stable job and started a real estate business only to be beaten, lost, and even more frustrated. I had to leave my family for months, my daughter who was not even in primary school, and my son who was just a toddler. But I badly wanted to win this game in life and provide them with the best, so I had that decision changed my life forever. Hi, Rahul Syed here. I'm the founder and chief investment strategist at Noble Sky International. I'm a proud father of two, Leila Mariam and Yusuf Aidan. I also count my nephews and nieces my own children as well, and I have my wife and business partner Aisara to thank for as well. They are my reasons why I have been working so hard so they may pursue their dreams and achieve their goals. Giving them the best to score in life was my objective. Coming from a broken family, I knew the financial pain and hardship that my parents had endured while raising my siblings and me. I value their sacrifices that have made me into who I am today. This attitude of persistence and tenacity has pushed me beyond my boundaries to create multiple streams of income in property investments. I built Noble Sky since 2014 and have achieved the highest standard and recognition my business has to offer. I'm proud to say that we are the only company in Asia that has enabled thousands of people from all walks of life from across the region to affordably own multiple portfolios of properties in the United States of America with no debt. I'm highly meticulous, and many who have worked with me will understand that I want the best for all my clients. I continually seek mentors and those more successful than I am in this field to gain more experience, and the intensive research we provide has allowed me to create life-changing decisions for my client. I presented them with my proposal, researched the desired property, and facilitated the whole process to suit their portfolio. Satisfaction on their faces and from hearing their voices after finally owning a profitable property that they never dreamed of before is the driving force for me. I will do the same for you because I was once looking for that purpose and I found my answers. I love connecting with people, and to me, it's not just about making a transaction, but more about having relationships built to last. I look forward to sharing my life's work with you. My life's work has empowered hundreds to realize a life they never once thought possible. My name is Rahul Syed, your go-to US real estate investment strategist.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that short video from the founder of Noble Sky International. And every time I play this video, I get goosebumps because it's exactly where he's been and where he's going, and how he's helping people with investing in US real estate. It sinks in a lot with me. It's something that I resonate with a lot, and this is why I was very happy to accept the role of heading the marketing department in Noble Sky International when Ralph actually approached me. And because I knew we were going to be doing lots of good work for lots of people out there, right? And this is what I want to actually be able to offer you today, all right? So what we're going to be able to achieve, all right, tonight is in exchange for your attention, in exchange for what you are sharing with me, the time with me tonight, is so that I can actually have the opportunity to give you and show you an investment vehicle that's going to help you achieve your financial goals. And when you get to achieve that, is something that you're going to be able to, it's going to change how you're going to be able to live your lives, right? So when you have reached your financial goals, that, then you can start to do other things that can help you, bring in more value in your life, right? So all I need from you today is basically your attention. Sit through with me as I share with you all of the other strategies that we're going to be putting in place that's going to help you get there, right? So I want to share with you a little bit about how it got started for Ralph Syed back in 2012. All of us probably are wondering, like, who is this Singaporean guy running a US real estate business? I know some people have this weird idea, right? Like, what is a Singapore company doing dealing with US real estate? But this is how it started. In 2012, when Ralph was in San Jose, California, he wanted to attend a multi-speaker event. You can see Tony Robbins, there was Donald Trump before he was president, there's Robert Kiyosaki. And these are great people, right? But who Ralph really caught his attention of Ralph was someone who was unknown, not in the speaker panel, but someone who spoke about investing in US real estate. And that was something that caught Ralph's attention, because that trainer shared that foreigners are able to buy in US real estate, and that it's going to give them a lot of good returns. So Ralph was very, of course, amazed, and he wanted to find out for himself. So what he did was, finally in 2014, he had already collected or put aside funds, some seed funds that he knew that he would need to buy into properties in the US. And he attended this workshop in 2014, and it cost him $20,000. Right. So this $20,000, it's why I'm sharing this with you is basically because this is basically the amount of money people pay to learn what you are going to be learning tonight. So tonight, I'm not going to be, of course, sharing with you. This was a 5 days workshop. I'm not going to be sharing with you 5 days worth of knowledge, but it's going to be a super compressed version, the very, very critical ones and strategies that's going to help you get there with US real estate. So after attending the workshop in the US, Ralph had this idea that he can buy properties for only $5,000 and then sell it for $200,000. Okay, amazing, right? So imagine if this was possible, you can do this for 5 times maybe, then you're going to become what? A millionaire, right? But this was the reality on the ground. The reality on the ground is that you can buy a property in the US for $5,000. So understand that, yeah? You can buy a property in the US for $5,000, but likely it's going to be very hard to sell. Why? Because it's maybe going to be located in a place where nobody want to buy, or there's a lot of other work that you need to put in to make the property look good and then sell for profits. So how you guys get there? But that didn't deter Ralph. Of course, he decided, okay, I'm going to give it a try, I'm going to give it a go. Remember this Singaporean, like 24 hours, living 24 hours away from the US, decided, okay, I'm going to go in and try this out. So what he was taught during the workshop was one of the best ways to buy properties in the US was through auctions, so that you can buy them at the lowest price possible. So Ralph actually flew up to Houston, Texas to participate in what you call a tax deed auction. Okay, what you see in the picture here, I know it's a little bit small, is an auction that is being carried out in the county of Houston, all right? And you can see the guy in front with the hat, that is actually the sheriff. Behind the sheriff is a list of properties that are being auctioned, and people were crowding around to put in their bid. So, you know, it's like calling once, calling twice, calling 3 times, right? So that kind of bidding is exactly what would happen. So when Ralph was there, he had a few properties that he wanted to buy, but he didn't win anything at all from the auction. So what he had to do was he had to fly back to Singapore, waited a few weeks for the next auction, and he flew back up again to Houston, Texas to enter a second auction. But guess what? He didn't win anything at all again. And only on the 3rd try, after coming back to Singapore, waiting a few weeks, and then flying back up to Houston again, that's when he finally won something. Okay, so imagine the whole what it took to do this. Do you guys want to guess what he won? Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna cut it short for you. So this is what Ralph won during his 3rd attempt at the auctions. So this is a receipt for $28,000. Ralph actually got 4 condominium units for $28,000. Okay, and this was Houston. You can see this was in Audubon Park condominium. Okay, this was what the condo looked like. So unlike the luxurious condo that we are familiar with in our region, right, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, this was a condo that is located in what you call a blue-collar neighborhood. Okay, but people wanted to rent in this area, and also it's very near the airport in Houston. So there was very good rental activity there as well. Okay, so imagine this was what Ralph got, 4 condo units for $7,000 each. Do you guys find this amazing? I found that it was crazy. So he was able to put them up for rental, and that gave him income over time. All right. How many of you think this is a great buy? Give me a thumbs up if you think, yeah, oh my God, 4 condo units for $28,000. How many of you would like that? Give me a thumbs up if you think that's something that you would like. Okay, thanks guys for the thumbs up. Anyone else? No one thinks this is good for you. Okay, imagine if you're able to do that, right? Will this help you get to your goals faster? Imagine 1 condo unit, $7,000, and then you can put up for rental, and then you get your monthly rental. Yes, right? So this was what Ralph discovered for himself. And he went like, oh my God, I can actually buy properties at such a cheap price, and I can actually put this up for rental and gonna make my passive income from there. Now, if you were Ralph and you have achieved what he has achieved, right, being able to buy this property in the auctions, what will you do next? Let me know. If you were an investor, if you were Ralph, if you were in his shoes, what will you do next? Type in the chat. What will you do? Come on, guys. Put yourself now as an investor. Well, I just got me 4 condo units for $28,000. What will you do? Frida says repeat. Anyone else? Has any other thoughts? What will you do next? Prasenjit says repeat. Wow, okay. All right, so you guys, Nora says buy more. So exactly. If you are an investor, you will know that, okay, if I know of this working strategy, what I want to be able to do next is buy more, right? You wouldn't want to just stop, like stop at 2, like the childbirth policy, right? You wouldn't want to stop there. You want to buy more so that you can grow your money. So you understand, all of us have our financial goals, remember? And Ralph, in this case, he has his children that he wants to fund their future with. So he wanted to buy more. So he went back to Singapore, told everyone, hey guys, look what I got. I got like 4 condominium units. Guess what? I'm going to go back up to the US and buy me more. All right. So this is what happened next. So Ralph went up to San Antonio in Texas as well to go enter into another auction. But there was one big problem here. By the time Ralph flew up to San Antonio this time, by this time he's gone up and down already many times, right? He didn't realize that by then he had only $10,000 left to buy into a property. Okay, so imagine if you have flown 23 hours back to Singapore and then all the way up again, leaving your family behind and all that. The last thing you want to do is go back empty-handed, right? So this was when Ralph actually committed the #1 mistake in property investing. Okay, this is what happened. With only $10,000, Ralph realized that he couldn't win any properties that he had shortlisted. So what he did was he told himself that I'm not going to go back empty-handed. I'm just going to look at the next property in the list, and if it's on Google Maps, I'm just going to buy it. So exactly that's what happened. Ralph saw the property and he looked at Google Maps. He saw a property. He said, okay, I'm just going to go for it. He bid it for the property and he got a property for $8,000. Not a bad buy, right? $8,000. But this was what happened. This was a property that he got. It turned out to be a unit that was burnt down. The story behind it was that it was utilized by illegal squatters who used this as a drug operation center inside, and the property got burnt down. So this property on the outside looks horrible, right? As you can see, maybe in our context, we call it like more like a kampong than anything else. And with only less than 2,000 by the time he bought into this property, paid the whatever service charges and all that. He had less than $2,000 left to repair this property and make it look good and sell for profits. So understand that this was when he committed the #1 mistake in investing, which was he bought the property without research. He got emotional. He decided that I'm not going to waste my time going back empty-handed. But what he ended up was making a very expensive mistake, was into buying a property, although this property was on Google Maps. So you guys know, right? On Google Maps, the photos are not the most recent. Sometimes if you look at the date stamp, you can see maybe it could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years before, right? So if this property was even 1 year ago, a lot of things could have happened to a property, right? Maybe a hurricane could have, gone past and the property might not even be standing there anymore. So what is really important is to do proper research, especially on the ground, to be able to ensure that you buy into a property securely. So this is what Ralph has learned, and this is something that is very expensive and something that we ensure that our investors never ever get to experience for themselves. Okay, so we're very, very big on research. So after going through all of this, making all of the mistakes and all that, it wasn't something that was going to stop Ralph from doing, because he understood that there's now a working model. So what he decided then was to strengthen the position of Noble Sky as a company. So he sought out mentors. So these are people, some of the people whom we still have working with us in the US. We have John and Laura, they're a retired couple. They have hundreds of properties under their names, and they've been very, very good with sharing with us a lot of the strategies they put in place. Okay, we have Ray and George Dyers. They're a pair of brothers who's helping us a lot with the repair, rehab works on the ground. Okay, they are also venture capitalists. They have specific expertise in hotels and also in rebranding hotels, as well as repairing properties and all that. They're helping us to manage properties on the ground. And we also have Charles and Lina Sales. They are owners of the PIP group, and they sell 50 million worth of deals every year. So tax liens. I know very recently there was news about PIP holdings or something in Singapore. There's nothing to do with this PIP group. There was some issues with that investment company based in Singapore. There's a developer, I think. I just realized it sounds very familiar. So after that, we learned a lot of things which now our investors can benefit from, the expertise that we have created for the past 7 years already, since 2014, these are the few things which we have learned and something that you can definitely take advantage of. Firstly, understand that research is the most important thing when it comes to buying real estate. So we are very, very, very stringent and very, very disciplined when it comes to research any properties. Before we buy in, we ensure that we tick all of the checklists, making sure they are properties that can help us make money and help us get to our goals. then the ugly properties can actually easily beat a pretty property in an ugly street. So understand this, basically, if you buy an ugly property, which means if the property is run down, it doesn't look good, it's okay, as long as it is located in a neighborhood, in a place where people want to buy. So you guys understand that, right? So you can always make it look good and then sell for profits, versus if you have a nice house already, but then that house is in a neighborhood where nobody wants to buy, that is worse off. So you end up with buying into a property that nobody wants to buy. So that was one of the lessons which is really, really important for you guys to know. Then you need to watch all expenses. This is exactly what happened to Ralph, because he didn't watch his expenses very well. He found himself caught with only $10,000 left by then, because a lot of the money went instead not into buying the properties, but went into the flights, went into lodging, went into the food, went into, you know, all of this. And when, of course, he flew up to the US many times, he wasn't alone. He went with Sarah, his partner in this business. So there's a lot of expenses that came into play, right? So you guys got to make sure, if you're an investor, you want to make sure your money works for you and not spent on expenses, okay? Then what's other important thing is to find the right team and mentor. So I am happy and proud to say that I'm part of this team that's helping Noble Sky go up levels every year, right? To help investors in the community to be able to achieve, you know, their financial goals together, right? So here are somewhat of the client numbers that we're able to achieve for the clients that we've been doing since 2018. So the number is since July 2018. Why? This was the time when we opened up, you know, we ran all of the different countries, right? We've been going to. This was when we really opened up the services that we have for investors who want to buy into US real estate. So we've been able to achieve to buy about 63 properties for the investors. Okay, and these properties were purchased with a total amount of about only 3.75 million. So understand, imagine 63 properties only spent 3.75%, and this represented about 30% of the market value. So this 3.75 million that is being spent has a total fair market value of 12.5 million. In fact, it's more, right? It's more than 12.5 million. So this is the kind of numbers and strategies that we do, we help our clients to achieve. Okay, at this stage, how many of you think these are awesome numbers? Give me a thumbs up if you think it is awesome numbers and you actually want to be a part of this whole portfolio. So imagine if you're part of these 63 properties, right? So anyone else? Thumbs up or thumbs too tired? Okay, I hope you guys are, your thumbs up is very important, because it helps me understand that you're still paying attention and you still want to learn more of what I have to share, okay? All right, moving on. You guys ready? Why and how we're going to be able to achieve this for you to US real estate? Yes? If you're ready, say yes. Give me permission to move on. Say yes in the chat. Type in the chat so I know you guys are ready and paying attention, because the next few slides that I'm going to be sharing with you is going to be very, very important. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, Michael, Prasenjit, Nora, Hazik. Okay, so first and foremost, why do we choose US real estate? Thanks, Thomas, as well. First and foremost, the market size and abundance of inventories. Okay, the market size of the US, if anybody can guess, you can simply Google it. Actually, the market size of US real estate is about $36 trillion. Again, that's with a T, $36 trillion. That's 16 zeros in the back. That's the size of US real estate, and it's huge. Okay, so every year there's about 6 million transactions that happen in the US. Okay, so there's a lot of good properties out there for you, even as a foreign investor, to buy in and make your money there. Point number two, they're a lot more affordable than local markets. I think I've given you these examples already. The earlier case studies, you can see that US properties are a lot more affordable. The average transaction price for US properties, barring the different spectrums, like the very low and the very expensive, the average transaction price of homes in the US are about $300,000 only. So understand, $300,000 for those of you who are in Singapore, you probably can't even get a decent house in Singapore, right? Probably gonna get the smallest version of a HDB house. Okay, but in the US, $300,000 can give you a bungalow in Singapore's context, like a nice house with big, huge land. Sometimes you can have a river running through it, and it's going to cost you a lot lesser. So that is why US is so interesting for us. And the point number three, the ease of acquisition. This is amazing for me, because in 2018, remember that fateful night with Ralph, I told him, I asked him this very question, told him, hey, look, I have 3 kids and I'm going to be very busy running my businesses. I'm not going to be able to have time to fly up to the US and take care or make selections of the properties and then take a look at my properties and manage everything, right? Told him that if it's going to require me to go fly up and down like what you did, I'm not going to be interested, because what I value more is quality time with my family. I don't want to load on additional things and additional worries I have to think about. And Ralph showed me how easy it was to buy properties, and really, it was so easy because you can actually buy it as easy as through the internet. Okay, so I thought that was really amazing. And you know, my 5 properties in my portfolio, none of them I had to fly into the US to buy any of them. Right, so I'm going to show you how that works. This other amazing fact about real estate in the US is that you can have land ownership even if you are a foreigner. Okay, so you saw some of the houses, right? That kind of one piece, a single family home seated on a plot of land. When you buy a property that looks like that, what you're buying into is not the house. You're actually buying into the plot of land. So if you see your title deed as given to you, the title deed is title to the plot of land, and whatever is above and below it belongs to you as well. So understand, when you're in the US, right, you become the landowner. It doesn't matter even if you are a foreigner. Okay, so I am proud to say that, oh, I'm part owner of land in the US. Right, so I think that was really amazing. And a lot of people, when you know that you can own land, there's a lot of things that you can do. And of course, you can just brag to people. I just say, hey, look, I actually own land in the US. And it's truth. It's not something that we are making up. I want to show you how that works later. Price to value ratio, this one is bar none. You can't compare. Every dollar you put into US real estate versus your local markets, going to give you a lot more returns, because firstly, the running costs are very low. You don't have loans to deal with, and you buy into houses are a lot more affordable, and it's going to give you a lot more returns compared to your local real estate. All right. So here's the biggest rule of real estate investing for us. Okay, I know there's different people have different ideas. Here's what the rule is: you make money when you buy and not when you sell. Okay. This might not make sense to some people, but I've already given you examples earlier, right? When we buy into a property, you buy it at such a low price, such that the moment you buy, you make instant equity. Your portfolio value grow immediately. That's when you already know that, oh wow, I actually already made money because I bought the property so cheap. So you guys understand? Yes? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you understand this. All right, you guys are paying attention. Great. All right. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you very much, guys. Now I'm going to go on and share with you how we buy US real estate at 70 to 80% discount to the market value. So this is very important. So again, right, remember we started out this webinar where I'm asking whether maybe some of you thinking that this may be a scam, maybe this is something that is not real. Let me share with you the very policy that helps us achieve this very amazing thing in the US, right? So this has got to do with the property tax laws in the US, and this vary by state and county, but this is a policy that is available and is working across many counties that we are actively investing in. Okay, this is how it works, and this is a very simple concept, but I need your attention to this, right? Every government in the world generally will need taxes to pay for public services. All right, so in the US, how it works very simply, there are 50 states, and in each state there are small counties. I think there's about 2,000 plus counties in the US. So each, like, imagine small government boundaries, right? And each of them must take care of their own areas to make sure that they pay for all the public services. And this monies that is being paid, property taxes that are being paid by homeowners on a yearly basis, helps the government ensure that all of these public services get paid. So you guys understand that you need to take care of roadworks, pay the teachers, pay the fire department, and all of those. It becomes a problem when a property owner is unable to pay. Why? For various reasons, right? And even in Singapore, even in Indonesia, Malaysia, there will definitely be cases where the property owner is unable to pay their property taxes because of various reasons. One being maybe they lost their job. Okay, number two being divorce. Number three being death. That means you have passed on and then the property nobody else is taking care of. Nobody's paying the property tax. So that becomes a problem. Yes, right? So this is what it looks like. Here's an example. Say after a year, this particular property owner is unable to pay $2,000 worth of taxes. What is the government going to do about it? Nothing. They're going to send this owner a reminder. Say, hey, look, you're unable to pay. Come on, let's do it. Let's pay up because we need to pay the public services. And then in year two, is unable to pay again. All right, so in this particular county, the policy says, okay, we're gonna tahan, or we're gonna hold on to another year. All right, allow you a third reminder, and still, if unable to pay after 3 years, what's gonna happen? Is the government gonna perpetually continue to send reminders? And to infinity, no, right? They need to do something about this, because if everybody end up not paying, the government will face a shortfall in income to pay for the public services, right? So this is what the government will do. Very simply, the government is going to foreclose on that property. So imagine this was $6,000 total taxes unpaid, and then you add on any penalties by the government and all that. Imagine this particular property now owes the government $10,000. Okay, but this property has a market value of $180,000. Okay, what is the government going to do next? Because the government understand that needs to make up for the shortfall of the $10,000 that is unable to be paid by the property owner, right? So this is what's going to happen. The government is now going to auction off this property to the public. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. So you see these small people here. The public here will include foreigners like you and me. Okay, now my question to you is, will you want to buy this property that's being offered at $10,000, but it has a market value of $180,000? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up if you think yes. I don't mind paying $10,000 for this property, which has a market value of 180K. Yes, all right. So all right, great. Now play along with me. So let's participate in this government auction, all right? So this property is starting out with $10,000. Anyone want to bid $10,000? Put in the number, in the chat. 10K if you want to start off. Anyone? All right, Daisy says 10K. Anyone gonna outbid? All right, percentage is 12K. Anyone gonna do higher than 12K? Going once. Syed going for 15K. Very good, Syed. Freda going to 20K. Very nice. Freda going once. Going to come on, this 180K property. Anyone wants to do more? All right, Nora, this says 21K. She knows how to play the game. Very good, Nora, 21K. All right, anyone else gonna do higher than 21K? Percentage 22. Anyone? Come on, guys. 27K, Freda. All right, the heat is coming on, right? Anyone else gonna do higher than 27K? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Percentage 32K. All right, awesome. Anyone higher than 32? 35, 40. Come on, 41. Okay. All right, so let's just put it this way. Nora, Hazik. Okay, Hazik came in first with 50K. All right, so for the purpose of tonight's example, Hazik won this property at 50K. So understand the value of the property is 180K. Now my question to you is, has Hazik made money on the buy? Understand this as a value of 180K. Type yes in the chat if you think Hazik made an awesome buy for only 50K and he got a property of 180K. How many of you think it was an awesome buy? Yes? yes. Anyone else would think that, yeah, 50K, of course, if you can buy it at, yeah, Freda, he made 130K in equity, right? Immediately. So that is the power of buying properties in the US at such a low price. And this is totally legal. It's going on every month in the US. The county government are auctioning off properties, which we as foreigners are able to come in and buy. Okay. So Irene Tan, very good question. So Irene, understand in Singapore, you have Property Guru, you have all the government data, right? Which shows the sales, transactions, and the values and things like that. So the US is more advanced when it comes to data. There's a lot of public data that you can utilize to see what kind of market value you have in the area. This is a very good question. And we deal a lot with research. So research is top priority before we even enter an auction like this. We want to make sure that we know the market value upfront. So the moment we buy this property, even if it's at 50K, we know we've made a very, very good buy. All right. So I want to share with you this short video. Remember, I told you how easy it was to buy property in the US. So this was exactly what we were doing, entering the auction online. So understand you don't need to be there physically, like in Houston. This was done for a property in Jacksonville, Florida. You can just do it online, take a listen at how it works.
$35,000, something a bit.
Yeah, and buy my credit card. Something today.
Come on. Come on.
15 seconds. TikTok. 10 seconds. 7.
Come on.
So cute.
Kita minta ke sana. 355. Fantastic. Fantastic lah. Please fumble lah, please fumble lah, please fumble lah, please fumble lah, don't. Bergerak. Sorry. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Good job.
Take another dari.
At 12 cent.
All right, so what, sorry, let me pause this. All right, so what you guys saw was basically us entering an auction. Then I think that the team was in Philippines. We were running a workshop in Philippines, and we wanted to enter these auctions. We had to be online. We didn't need to be physically there. We won this particular property at 36,100. So this is a government auction website. So you're dealing with the government, the county. You're not dealing with, it's not like eBay. You're not buying a property off eBay and then you won't know where the property is going to go next, right? You can imagine how that's going to work out. But this is how we do it through the government platforms, and we participate in auctions like this to buy great properties in the US, right? So this was how easy it was. And this was the kind of properties that we can get, right? So apart from the other example you've seen, so this is an example of a property which we got through the auctions. So this property is quite a huge one, right? You can see this in Walden, New York. It has a market value of $236,000. We purchased this property in the auctions that you saw earlier for only $42,000. Okay, so imagine that the price difference, right? Now we had to put in quite a bit of money in terms of rehab, but understand we spent in total rehab plus the purchase on the auction and then some other miscellaneous costs. It cost us only $110,000. So the investors that are in this particular project spend a total of $110K. So, but this property can sell at $236K. So you guys get it, right? So the equity gain when you buy at only $110K, you make an immediate equity of $126,000. And then this property, we successfully sold it for $215K. So that gave a 95.45% returns for the investors. Okay, so you guys get this. So understand that when we do a flipping like this, we don't have to wait 5-10 years. Okay, a flipping generally takes about 9 to 15 months, depending on conditions and things like that, and the amount of repairs. So understand this is the kind of returns that we have been able to achieve for our investors, but 95.45% is amazing, right? But it may not be the case all the time. We have a minimum targeted returns for all of our investors whenever they come into the US. So we don't promise like you're going to make 90%, 100% or whatever, but we tell them that there is a minimum target that we want to achieve for them. All right. So in this particular case, the investors were obviously happy. Would you be happy if you made 95.45% returns within, I think this was less than 2 years? Great. Thumbs up if you think this is awesome numbers. Yes, Frida. Okay. Thumbs up. Okay, thanks, guys. So you understand, if this is the kind of returns that you can get, will this help you achieve your financial goals faster? Yes or no? Type in the chat for me. Yes, if you think this type of returns are gonna help you get to your financial goals faster. Yes, right? So do you think you can achieve this by doing properties in your local market within 1 year, 2 years, you can get double-digit returns? Unlikely, right? Because we understood, remember, especially in Singapore's context, the moment you buy in, you already lose 15%. So you need time, you need strategy, you need a lot of patience to gain back that 15% loss, right? So there's a different thing altogether. But in the US, these are the kind of things that we're looking at, all right? So let you have a look at how it looks like on the inside. So we got it cheap, right? But this is how a property that we buy through auction sometimes we look like. The roofing was falling off, the kitchen looked horrible, everything's thrown out. You wonder how people live there, right? So everything was in a mess. So when we bought the property, of course, in order for us to sell it for profits, we need to make it look good. So we bring in contractors to do up the property, make it look good. And by the time we wanted to sell it, it looks like this, very decent. We have to have city inspector to come in to ensure that everything's up to code, which means we're not going to sell a property that doesn't meet the city inspector requirements. So it must be safe for living. So once that's passed, then we can put it up for listing in the local listing, and then people in the US can buy. Right, so that's how we make the money. This is called flipping. So this is one way that we have been running for our investors, and they've been enjoying great returns from flipping. And remember Richard Janey, so he's one of the investors in this particular property. So he put in only 45,000 of his own money into a whole capital contribution of $278,000 to get there. So he enjoyed whatever returns, the 95.55% on that particular property was what he enjoyed for himself as well. Okay, there are other ways that we can acquire properties in the US at great discounts as well. Okay, there are government auctions I shared with you. There are motivated sellers, basically people who want to offload properties very quickly. So for example, I got a new job, my employer wants me to shift very quickly. I need to just sell off very quickly. So sometimes they sell below market, but it may not be as cheap as the auctions. And there are also wholesalers. In the US, it's very unique that there are people who are in between, sort of like middlemen, people who just transfers sales contracts. They're not interested to make big money. They just be happy with like $5,000, $10,000, but they make sales very quickly. But what they do is they identify good properties, and then they find buyers like us who are investors who have cash to come in and buy properties from them. So these are other areas of how we buy properties at great prices in the US. Right. I'm done with the earlier part, how we explain buying properties at low price. All right, so I hope you guys are ready. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready for secret number 2. How do we legally set up in the US? Right, so if all of the numbers look interesting, well, I can buy very cheap. So exactly, if you are a foreigner, how do you set up in the US such that you can buy all of this easily? Remember, how are you able to participate in an online auction? It cannot be just any Tom, Dick, and Harry go in, log in, and then be able to buy. You need to be legally recognized in the US to be able to buy. Right, so I'm going to share with you how that works. So basically, in the US, we do a few things. First and foremost, the setup is important. The next thing is how do we come in and buy properties without utilizing loans? Remember the earlier graph that you have looked at, there was no loans involved. And why do we not want loans in our case? Is because when you are a foreigner, you want to come in without having the hassle of trying to qualify for loans. So a lot of the times, foreigners may not get loans being issued to you because the banks do not know you. They don't know your credit profile. They do not know where your money is coming from. They do not know whether you can pay for your loans. And if you run away, there's basically nothing they can do about it, right? So in the US, as a foreigner, it gets harder to apply for loans. So our investors that come mainly from Asia come in with cold hard cash. Right, so they buy into properties. But this is a challenge, right? We've identified earlier. If I only have $10,000, how do I buy into a property in the US that maybe is going to require $80,000, right? So this is how we do it for investors. Okay, this is a structure, and I need your attention here so that when you understand this, the picture will be very clear for you. So imagine if you're a couple from Singapore, and then there's a family from Malaysia, and then there's an investor from Indonesia, and then there's also a lot of other investors. We have, I think, from 17 different countries, investors from 17 different countries that's utilizing our services to help them buy properties in the US. This is how it works, basically. Wyoming State is where you will need to set yourself up in the US as a business entity. It's what you call a holding entity. So say this particular family in Singapore, this couple has $30,000 and they want to buy into a rental property. We need to set up for them a business entity called XYZ LLC. In this case, it's just for namesake. And then another 30K, they want to buy into flipping property. We set up for them XYZ Inc. in Wyoming State. This Malaysian family has got 150K, and then they want to buy into a rental property in the US. This Indonesian man has got $500,000. He wants to buy into flip property. He has ABC Inc. is something that we set up for him in Wyoming. And then we have all the other investors, 150K here to buy into flipping, 140K to buy into rental. So how does this work? Remember, no loans. How do we maneuver this for you, as an investor? So firstly, say this couple in Singapore, 30K not enough to buy into a full project, right? Because you need to do rehab, you need to do all of the other works that's involved. So what they can do is actually combine the funds together, 30K and with 150K with the other investors, and then we set up a buying entity. Is what you call an operating entity. Now it has a full 180K. 180K is a lot more substantial to buy into, say, a flipping project in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, so of course, when the Singapore couple only put in 30K and the other investors put 150K, the profits from here cannot be equal, right? It has to go back according to the proportion of capital they put in. Okay, so it's going to go 16.67% to Singapore, to the Singapore couple, and then 83.33 to the other investors. Okay, now say the other $30,000, what's going to happen? They want to buy into a rental property. So again, 30K may not be enough. So they put in together, join in another 140K with the other investors. Now they have 170K. So now they set up 777 LLC in the state of Texas. They buy into a rental property in Houston. So 170K buy into a nice rental property, they can make the money together. But on a monthly basis, when the rental income is paid out, it's paid out according to this percentages, 17.64 to Singapore, 82.36 to the other investors. Right, so now the Malaysian family is 150K, enough to buy into a rental property of their own. They don't want to combine with anyone else, and that's fine as well. Okay, you don't need to always combine with someone else. Say 150K is enough, you can actually buy into your own property. So they have a solo rental. In this sense, of course, any property, any income will be paid 100% to the Malaysian family. So now this Indonesian investor has $500,000. He said, okay, I want to buy to a bigger property. So we set up for him 456 LLC with 500K going into a solo flipping project in California, in San Francisco, for example. So the properties there cost higher. He said, oh, I got more money, I want to buy into a more sexy place. So he buys into San Francisco, for example. But of course, because he's a solo owner, all profits will flow back to him 100%. So you guys get it? So in summary, every time you want to set up, that means when you want to get started for the first time in the US, you need to set up a holding entity in the state of Wyoming. And when you have your funds ready and you want to buy into property in whichever state, you need to set up your buying entity, or what we call operating entity, in the state where the property is. So why do we use business entity, and why not come in as a personal, as a person in the US and buy? That is possible as well. But understand, when you come in as an individual, as a person, the income taxes will be treated very differently compared to if you were to use a business entity. So when we use business entity for our investors, we set up for them, it helps them to reduce or make it more tax efficient. So if you want more money, right, made from your returns, you would rather keep more of the money, right, rather than spend it out in terms of taxes. Agree? Okay, so this, which is why we use business entities in the US to help people become more tax efficient. Now, this is an example. Mr. Majaldi Lois is from Indonesia. I remember him very clearly because in the year 2018, when we first started doing workshops in Jakarta, he was from the first workshop. And he's a retiree, so he said, okay, now I'm retired, I need to know where I can put my money so I can live off the income from there. So he utilized that leverage by co-investing with other investors. Then when he started, he only decided to put in $5,000, which was okay for us. He said, okay, go ahead. You want to test the system, see whether it works, you can go ahead. So he put in $5,000 of his own money. So it was combined together with the other investors. So understand his group of capital contribution was $463,000. So he bought into 9 properties in Jacksonville, Florida. But that portfolio has a market value of 1.021 million. Okay, this gave the portfolio growth 220%. So understand his $5,000 still grew by 220% if you understand this, right? So by percentage, he still enjoyed the same kind of returns. So for every property, he will get his proportionate amount of returns that goes into him. Okay, so even if you're in Singapore, it doesn't matter. Even if you have a smaller capital, you can still do this. All right. So this is another investor. This is Pak Julius Wijaja, also from Jakarta. He came in, I think, I can't remember which batch. He has put in his own capital of $30,000 to buy into this property in Jacksonville, Florida. There's a market value of $105,000. Okay, so understand that, again, he utilized that co-investing strategy with other investors that came in to buy into this property. All right, so that's how it works. Very simple. In between, Noble Sky is the one that helps you to manage the properties, and helps you to deal with all of the paperwork, the shareholders and things like that. So that's being taken care of for all of these investors. Right, so that's how they can enjoy these very good returns without them being able to, without them having to worry about not enough capital, having to worry about, you know, all of the property management and things like that. Okay, here's what Miss Serinki from Singapore, she and her husband invested in properties in the US, utilizing our service, and listen to what she has to say.
Hi, I'm Serene. I used to be a banker dealing with investments, and I handed over more than 100 million worth of funds from my high net worth clients. So I'm actually pretty exposed to all kinds of investments. But from young, actually, I'm also very passionate about investments and always look around for good opportunities. So when I heard about this opportunity from Noble Sky, I felt that it was an interesting idea, the way they did it. So me and my husband decided to invest more than 250,000 into our investments. And I would say that I'm pretty happy with so far with what I see. We have some in near Niagara Falls, and some near New York City, I believe, because we participated in a few. And I think there was also a private auction that was conducted for us. So I'm very pleased with the service. And then I think we managed to get some good buys. And I personally went down with the Noble Sky team on the US tour to see how it's actually done. So it was very interesting, and they really followed to what they have said. It's a very disciplined way of buying US properties. So I'm happy with how it's handled. And actually, one of the projects currently is being the property which I personally saw when I went to the US. It was called Dom Blush. It's actually being rented as an Airbnb property, and that has been giving us decent rental income. Every month we'll be receiving some returns. So I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah. Okay, actually, I went for the course that Noble Sky conducted as well. I mean, they actually show hand and let you know everything that you need to know. I would say actually the whole process is not that easy, but however, Noble Sky, they made it easy for us, and I leave it to them really to handle the rest. They got their CPA, they have their team of people, and also they have their own ground team in US looking out for us. So I guess our investments is well taken care of, and I feel comfortable. Definitely, I feel that they are professional, they are responsible, and if you are looking for some investments or some, like let's say, US properties to diversify your portfolio, I think it's a wise choice to go with Noble Sky. This is my take. Yeah.
All right, so that's Miss Serene Key and her husband, how they have enjoyed the type of returns from multiple properties in the US. All right, and let's see. Okay, so this is secret number 3 that you're going to be learning tonight. How do you achieve double-digit ROI with US real estate consistently? So the keyword here is not double-digit. I think double-digit is something that probably you can achieve somewhere else, right? But the keyword here is consistently. I want to share with you how that's going to work out, right? So how many of you right now are invested in any of this? Can you type in the chat for me? What else are you invested in other than maybe real estate? What else? Michael says none. Okay, that's fine. Anyone else? Frida says Forex. Okay, great. Anyone else? What else are you invested in? There's so many options these days. If no one else is answering this and basically means you're not invested in anything else, then I think it's a good time to start, because there's a lot of good vehicles out there, like some of what is being listed here. Fixed deposits, somewhat people are very familiar with, but it might not give you the most exciting returns. There are stocks. Of course, stock can be very volatile, going up and down, but if you know how to choose the right stocks, you may, if you have a long-term view, you can still do money in there. Crypto is very interesting, but very scary at the same time. If you're in to make serious money, you know that, for me at least, I wouldn't want to put a whole lot of money in crypto, because I'm afraid that, when I wake up the next day, suddenly the value of the money just goes down by half. So that's a very, very scary thought for me. And some people buy into businesses, some people go into REITs and all that. So it doesn't matter. All investments are good in a sense that it will help you get to your numbers. But the question is whether these numbers are going to be consistent, whether this is going to help you achieve your numbers. All right. So this is the secret: consistency, repeatability, predictability. Okay. What do I mean by repeatability? So some people, they like to boast, some I got friends, hey, guess what? Well, last night there was a good run in the crypto, and suddenly I made from my money increased by I made about 500%. Like, wow, I say, that's great. Now my question is, are you willing to put in more money in there? And will you be able to achieve another 500%? So then, I hear crickets, like, crick, crick. The question is like, yeah, just because you're able to make 500% one time, are you able to then repeat this process? The real answer to a lot of investment vehicles out there is that I don't know, because you cannot predict the market. The market is very volatile for some investments out there, right? And that includes stocks as well. Sometimes if you are in the stock market, you know that sometimes when the, like Omicron came out, and then suddenly the US market took a plunge, right? And then how then do you predict? You can't predict when these new things come out. But understand, when it comes to real estate, the market doesn't move as volatile as some of the other vehicles out there. So if you have some of you have shared with me, right, your numbers. You have 1.5 million, 1.6 million, 2 million, you want to achieve this. And if you have a certain runway, you have about maybe 10 years, 20 years, you want to achieve that. If you put your money in places where you cannot predict the type of returns and you cannot repeat that kind of returns, then it's going to be a problem, right? Because you won't know how you're going to get there. So for example, Singaporeans are lucky in a sense because we have this thing called CPF, and you have guaranteed returns, right? On the ordinary account, you got 2.5%, and then on the, what was the other account, special account, is it 4%? And that is like guaranteed by the government. But most of the time, most other vehicles out there will not give you a guarantee. In fact, MAS will probably want to regulate or want to look into any organization that guarantees returns, because that's very scary, right? Because maybe sometimes it could be a scam. So we're not talking about guarantees here, but we're talking about consistency, repeatability, and predictability. Right? This really is a secret that's going to help you get there. Okay. Why is this very important? Because if you can repeat, if you can consistently achieve a certain range of returns, it's going to help you get to where you want faster. Okay. Let's take a look at this example. So how many of you have heard of the term compounded returns? Give me a yes in the chat if you have heard of compounding returns. Yes, Freda. Anyone else have heard of what compounding returns means? Wow, don't tell me you guys don't know. This is a day and age. If you don't know this, you're probably missing out on a lot. Okay, so let me explain to you what compounding returns basically means. Right? If some of us are very comfortable with putting our money in a safe place, right? For example, you say, okay, I want to just put my money in a fixed deposit that pays 3%, for example, or maybe you look at your CPF that's going to give you 2.5% returns, or maybe 4%. What will the number grow to if you have a 10 years timeline? Okay. Say we're looking at this chart, this example of someone who starts with $50,000 capital. Okay, where will you be in 10 years time if your portfolio grew by 3% every year? Okay, this is where you are. Okay, your 50K will have grown to 67,195.82 after 10 years compounding. And every year 3%, 3%, 3%. Not bad, right? So without you doing anything, your money from 50K has grown to 67,000. But is that anywhere close to the number that you want to achieve? Yes or no? For me, it's a straight no, because this number is not big enough. It doesn't grow fast enough for me to retire early. Now, if your portfolio is growing, your investment is growing at 20%, so the blue line is a 20% line. That same money, that same $50,000, if it's compounded every year on 20% basis, you can achieve, that money is going to grow to 309,586. This is a lot more exciting, right? For sure. So probably going to get you closer to your numbers. Now, what if you were in an investment that gives you 30% returns every year consistently? Okay, this is not guaranteed, yeah, so consistent, which means it ranges. Maybe some years it does 25%, some years it does 30, some years it does 40, then goes out again. But imagine and on an average year, it pays you about 30% every year. Your money is going to grow in a lot more interesting fashion, because that same 50K will now be 689,000 in 10 years. Now, imagine if it was 45%, okay, on a yearly basis, that same $50,000 is going to be 2 million in the same 10 years. Amazing, right? Okay, so now why do I even put $45,000, a 45% line? This is because last year, in the year 2020, we achieved an average of 45% ROI for our investors in the year 2020 for those properties that we actually did flipping for. So the flipping properties in the year 2020 on average did 45%. So of course, again, as I've mentioned, maybe some years we can do 30, some years we do 45, some years we do 50, and then maybe some years we do slightly lesser, 25, and then, but on average, imagine if it was on average 45% every year, that money, that same 50K that you have invested would have grown to $2 million. So that is the power of compounding. So this is where I'm really about to conclude tonight's webinar, is to share with you this. If you can have consistency, repeatability, and predictability based on the strategies that you put in place, you're going to get to your numbers a lot quicker. All right. And these are our targeted returns. So remember, I told you, right, we have targeted numbers for investors. We do not have an upper ceiling, but we have a lower ceiling, which means is that if an investor tells us that, okay, look, Noble Sky, I want to come in, I want to do flipping. What kind of returns can I expect? So we tell them that, okay, we will only get for you properties that's going to give you minimum 30% returns. Okay. And if it was a rental property, which means you say, okay, I am interested to receive monthly passive income, I want to do rental, say go ahead. For rental properties on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, it's going to give you at least 10% in returns on the rental income. And if it was an Airbnb project, it's going to give you about 15% return. So which means if we do all of our research, we do all of our numbers, and it's not going to project 15%, we're not going to present to the investor. Okay, you can have our assurance that the only returns that you're going to see based on what we present to investors is based on these numbers, right? So of course, if it's 40%, if it's 50%, we will be happy to present it to the investor. But otherwise, these are the minimum numbers we are working with. Okay, so understand this is double-digit returns that we can help our investors achieve when you utilize US real estate. So on a yearly basis. So remember this case study, rental case study. This was a property which was cost only 145K in the market, but we spent only 86.4, and this is giving about 13.89% returns. So this is the kind of rental returns that investors are enjoying in the US. And then this is a tax deed. So tax deed is what is being the title deed that's given title to the investor, not to Noble Sky. We don't have, these properties are not in our inventory. We don't sell our own inventories. We're not realtors, but what we do is facilitate the whole buying process. Okay. This was how the property looked like. Before it was blue in color. It was actually beige. It's very ugly inside. It's like all broken up. It looks very horrible. And this is what we did to the property. We needed to rehab. Before we can rent it out, we needed to rehab, make it look good. And this was how it looks like after we rehab the interior. When I look at this, I was like, wow, I feel so much nicer. It feels like so cooling inside, right? How many of you like the before and after photos? Give me a thumbs up if you like how it looks like now. To me, it's like, this is amazing. Like this was what helped the tenants make a decision. Okay, I don't mind staying into this house because it looks decent, it's up to code, everything is good already. I don't mind coming in and paying rental for this particular property. Right? So this is Mr. Kamaruzaman Ghaffar from Singapore, how he added rental property to his portfolio after he started enjoying flipping profits. So back in 2018, he started coming in to do flipping properties in the US. And then after making his profits and all that, he decided in 2020, he wanted to go into rental as well. So investors that are in our community, a lot of them stay beyond 2 years, 3 years. So a lot of them started in 2018, right? So now they're still in here with us. The reason that happens is because there is basically nowhere else where they can consistently receive the type of returns they're receiving in US real estate. Okay, so you guys get that. That's why they want to continue to build their portfolio. This is a short video of what we did. In 2019, we flew in some of the investors to Houston for them to see what goes on behind the scenes in the US. Right, so how we do the repair works and things like that. Just a short video for you to see how we had investors from Indonesia, from Malaysia, Singapore, as well as Vietnam join us in a property tour in Houston in the year of November 2019. Take a look. All right, so you saw the last property, a very nice property. This is what happened when the investors came in. The property looked so good. Then they decided that, okay, we want to buy, because this property was owned by some children who inherited this property. The parents passed on, so they wanted to liquidate quickly, and then they can start to enjoy the money. So the investors were very excited because we were able to get a good deal out of this property, and this is what it looks like. We bought the property. We told them, okay, if you want to buy this property, one of the best strategies you can do for this property is to put it on Airbnb. Okay, so we ran the numbers, we did all of the research while we were there. We then negotiated a deal with the realtors. And we got a good deal, and this is what we have done with this property. Okay, these are the numbers. So this property, you can see, is a huge property made of bricks, very nice, very solid. So the value on the market is $370,000. Okay, we acquired for 270K. So understand this is cost more. This is not auction, right? So auction maybe you can buy at 50K, 80K, but here we are buying at 270K. But it was all right because there was no repair works that needed to be done. But in order for us to put it up for Airbnb, we needed to put in furnishings. So for people to stay in, right? We need to put in furnishing. We spent $10,000 and all the other expenses that came into play. We spent a total of 285K, but it was all good because we still made an equity of 85K. And we projected for the investors, we told them, hey, look, let's put this up on Airbnb. It's going to give you about 15.79% returns. We project it's going to do about $45,000 on the market in a year. So the investors say, oh, not bad. 15.79% is not a bad number at all, right? If you guys agree, right? 15.79 is not a bad number. So we put up this property. We put in all of the furnishings. As you can see here inside is how it looks like. It's a huge property. It can fit in 12 to 16 people at any one time, so we could charge higher. And this was the kind of numbers that we got when we got the listing approved in August 2020. First brought in 4,998 of income for the investors, and then it came in with 4,801 in September, then October 3,768, November was 4,796, December 4,110. So it was very healthy returns, income for the investors. And then January did 2,377. Why did it drop? Because it coincided with a peak in COVID numbers then in the US, and the government was telling people to stay put, don't go out. So the numbers dropped a little bit. And then in February, it went up again after, you know how US people are, right? So like, now the COVID is better, I'm going to go out and enjoy my holidays. The 7,654, and then March did 9,394, April did 3,974 again. When COVID rise, the number of people staying in Airbnbs went down a little bit, but there were still people staying there. Then in May, we did a very good 10,000 in the month. In June, we did 7,230. July, we did 7,421. So we took a snapshot of 12 months returns for the investors, and this came up to a total of 71,064. Remember what we projected for them for a 12 months basis was how much? Anyone can remember? We projected 45K for the investors. We told them, okay, maybe in 12 months we can achieve 45K in terms of income, but that property outdid itself, and it did 71,064, and this represented about 25.95% returns for the investors. How many of you think this is a great number? And believe me, this property is still running right now. We already have bookings for this very property already in the year 2022. We already have bookings for 2022 already, because now this property has got a lot of good previews and all that. So 25.95% is a very good return for these investors. So of course, they will love to continue receiving this passive income on a monthly basis. Okay. So this is a trend with Airbnb. Why we are going big with Airbnb for our investors now is because the data on Airbnb that's coming out in the US is that a lot of people now, because of working from home, they decide to stay. Can you see here, 60% are long-term stays. That means people stay in for about like 28 nights or longer. So because now people can go for holidays with their family, at the same time, they can continue to do work. And in fact, I can do the same, right? Because I'm working from home, I can do exactly that. So a lot of people in the US right now are going into Airbnbs where they don't need to mix with strangers in hotel rooms, right? So they can stay away from COVID and everything. They be in their own Airbnbs with their families. They can have all the fun and at the same time still do their work. Right? That's why they're staying 28 nights. So 28 nights. So this is amazing news for people who want to do Airbnb as a strategy. Okay. So at this stage, which one would you prefer? If you look at all the different strategies, we have flipping, we have Airbnb, we have rental. Which one do you want to do? Or all of the above? Which one do you think you want to do? For me, personally, I would do all of the above. All right, Frida says both, Hazik says all, Prasenjit says all. Flip. Anyone else? What do you want? Right, Daisy likes flip. Anyone else has an idea? Which one would you go for? Okay, I would go with all of the above. Basically, I want to diversify my money and make it grow in the US and do everything. Right. And basically, that's what I have right now. As I've shared earlier, 5 properties in my portfolio. Some of them are in the process of being flipped, and 2 of them are actually, one in Airbnb, one is in rental. They're giving me monthly returns. So I hope this is, you can imagine how it's gonna work out for you as well if you actually take on US real estate as an investment for yourself. Okay, so this is what you have learned so far, right? Secret number 1, we've covered how we buy US real estate 70 to 80% discount. So you guys understand this. And secret number 2 is how do we legally set up, and then how do we use co-ownership, unconventional leverage as we call it. Now, how do you 10x your returns, double-digit returns consistently? This is what I've shared with you. Now the question is, are you ready for more? I'm about to end, but there's just a little bit more I want to share with you. You guys ready? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready for me to share with you a little bit more before I close. Okay, believe me, tonight I've got nothing to sell to you. Okay, but I just want to give you information so that you get a lot of clarity and you start to understand what US real estate can do for you. Okay, you guys ready? All right, thanks for all the thumbs up. Thank you guys. So before I give you a lot more, I want to give you something. Okay, just very simply, if you guys are excited tonight, you guys are starting to see what US real estate can do for you, just do me a favor. If you can share that excitement that you have by sharing how you feel in social media or in Google or Facebook reviews. Very simply, what I need you to do is this. Okay, if you can help us understand tonight, we're not selling you anything, but we want to help more people like yourselves, like maybe you have friends, your family who should be listening to this, right? Who should understand that US real estate is a very powerful strategy that you can put your money in to grow double digits consistently on a yearly basis. Then I would like to invite you to share this out. Just take a couple of minutes to do this. Take out your phones, go into Facebook or wherever you are in, so Instagram, take a image of this, maybe what you're doing right now, attending a webinar, share what you have learned, maybe just one thing why you think is good, and then put in tag Noble Sky International, or you can also go into a Google review or Facebook review, whichever you feel comfortable with. And we're going to gift to you these resources. Okay, these are the 17 research criteria which we ourselves as a company utilize for all of our investors to make sure that they get their double-digit returns. So understand, if you want to be able to achieve that, you need to know what are the research criteria that goes into play. And then what are the 7 steps, simple steps that you need to make sure to take note. One of the steps is actually to register a business in the US. Right, so there's 6 other steps that you need to find out, and this is covered in our resources as well. And the last thing, which is very valuable for me as an investor, is this. We only, as paying clients who come in and utilize our services, we give them what we call a property investment analysis. So the team in Noble Sky, we go in, we do deep level research in properties, we identify the right ones and everything, and then we run all of the numbers. This is what we will give to you as a sample. So you can take a look and see, wow, this is what US real estate in the US looks like. This is the kind of projected numbers I can look at, and I can start planning my investments. This is something that's going to be very valuable to you, and only paying clients get to get access to this. But we have done one actual, these are 3 properties we have actually already done, and you can get your hands on them if you just do me this favor. Go into your social media right now, share one thing that you enjoyed about US real estate tonight. Maybe you can share about one of the 3 secrets, or you want to share all 3 secrets. Take a minute. Okay, I'm just going to give 1 minute on the clock, okay, for you to share. Tag Noble Sky International. It's important that you tag us, or if you go into Google review or Facebook review, we'll be able to identify who you are, and then we'll reach out to you and send you the link to download these resources. Okay, so these are something that you can further expand your ideas and thoughts about investing in US real estate. All right, so guys, go ahead and do that. I would really appreciate, because tonight here we really want to, we are, as what you've heard from Ralph earlier in his video, what we want to be able to do is actually help a lot of people achieve amazing returns from US real estate. And in doing so, it's going to help people, you know, really make a difference in what they're able to achieve in their financial numbers, in helping, you know, retirement, in the family finances, and you know, you want to pay for your children's education. So a lot of people have monetary plans, but most people do not have an actual strategy and do not have an actual vehicle that's going to help them achieve those numbers quicker. And believe me, if you remember, you saw the 3% line, the graph, 3% versus even a 10% or even 20%, it's going to be a world of difference in the speed at which you can achieve your numbers. Okay, so US real estate for me was a game changer. It was the no-brainer for me because firstly, I didn't have to fly into the US at all. I've never had to fly in to purchase any of my properties. Everything that I required to do, what I needed to do, was to basically just sign digitally, because digital signatures are legally accepted in the US. That made things a lot easier. You can see the investment was, the part of the acquisition was done all right, was done through the internet, and that was as easy as it is. And everything else about the property management and everything is done by Noble Sky on your behalf. Okay, you can see in the link, my team has also put in the links in the chat. If you want to put in Google review or Facebook review, you can go there as well. And then we're going to reach out to you and send you the links to download this. All right. So if any of you have done this already, you're completed. Okay, I hope you've taken in fact, I've given 2 minutes already. I hope you've actually shared this out so that you can get of this beautiful resources. And, at least you don't go back tonight empty-handed. Okay. You get more value, something that you can consider, and then think about whether this is something for you. Okay. Now let me move on with how I'm going to conclude. So basically, with US real estate, you can achieve double-digit ROI consistently, but the question is, can you do this on your own? Okay, I do not have a workshop I want to sell you tonight, or a mastermind, or coaching, none of that thing. Okay, this is just a question I'm posing to you. Can you do this on your own? Frankly, for me, the answer was a big fat no, because I was very busy. I have, all the challenges that we have identified earlier is something that I wouldn't be able to do it on my own, and I was happy to have Noble Sky to do it on my behalf. Take a listen to how we made life easy for Datuk Seri Paul Chong from Malaysia, how he is able to get 13 properties and enjoy great double-digit returns. Okay, take a listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Paul Chong from Malaysia. As the former CEO of a global investment bank, a private equity fund manager, a lawyer and an accountant, I'm well versed with investment models. Today, I want to share my experience in partnering with Raouf Said and Noble Sky International in an effort to build my real estate portfolio, especially in a country that I cannot conveniently reach or be in at all times, such as the United States. For my business and career, I'm based both in Hong Kong and Malaysia, but I've lived and worked in major financial centers around the world, including London and New York. So I know how expensive things can be in order for us to maintain a comfortable lifestyle. I got to know Raouf when I was attending his event back in 2018. Now, this was really a bizarre chance meeting. Back in 1995, I was a poor MBA student at Wharton, and I had to work part-time for $4 an hour, collecting information on property foreclosures and tax liens by going through, tons of records in public libraries in the US. I was working for a real estate investment company then. Now, they didn't tell me what all these were for. All I need to know was get the information for $4 an hour. And then Raouf's advertisement on tax liens caught me by surprise. I said, my God, this was 23 years ago when I was blindly collecting, market data, not knowing what my employer was going to do with them. And now Raouf will tell me. So from that chance meeting, we went on to talk about things beyond tax liens into actual real estate investments. Now, I'm a Chinese person, and I'm a firm believer in real estate. Ironically, despite me being a Wall Street investment banker, some 80% of my net worth is in real estate. I have property interests in the United States, the United Kingdom, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia, all of which I had to manage personally. Now, you can imagine the pain I go through every year when tax season arrives, right? Because reporting the rental income, the depreciation, the expenses, on all these properties across 6 countries around the world, it's a nightmare. I even have Deloitte do my tax returns for me, right? One of the big 4 accounting firms in the world. Then Raouf offered me something I found very, very useful. A professional team that will help me manage at least one of the countries that I'm invested in, the United States. From search to acquisition, from refurbishment to letting and sale. It's something that also can be structured on a profit-sharing basis. Now, as an investment banker, I love profit-sharing schemes because that gives my partner, in this case, Noble Sky, the utmost incentive to do the best they can, to realize the highest profit they can, rather than working for me or with me for a fixed fee. As a foreigner in the United States, I'm now assured that I can safely and comfortably own many properties in the United States, even without stepping foot, in the US. Noble Sky offered a business model that makes perfect sense to me. And that part of my business is now, if you like, run by a professional team that does not need my input or time at all. So I get time to focus on other businesses and family. Say, the three things that I value in them. Number one is their presence in the United States. I made a mistake previously buying half an office block in Melbourne, totally unseen. So my friend and I were sharing this, and we the realtor or the real estate broker showed us the building on Google Earth. We signed it, cut them a check while we were in Hong Kong, and that was it, right? That turned out to be a bit of a mistake because nothing beats what we call shoe leather investment in real estate. The ability to walk the streets, search the local databases, compare transactions across similar properties, understanding the local market, talking to local realtors, right? Getting a deep sense of the community, the demographics, and so on. So that is important. Number two, Ralph has a professional team that is highly experienced, not just as buyers, but as a team that can pull together the required labor and professionals for the renovation, refurbishment, and the ultimate sale, all at acceptable costs. And finally, what I find truly intoxicating is the drive that I see in Ralph and his team. They work tirelessly to manage, that property portfolio for us, and more importantly, their business acumen, the ability to time sales and at what we call optimum prices. Now, you may not want to sell properties at the highest possible prices at all times. There may be circumstances where you do wholesale deals. You make 3% less, but you make it 6 months sooner, and that's going to increase your internal rate of return tremendously. So it is this balance, right? The ability to read the market, not just buying at the lowest price and selling at the highest price and wait until the cows come home, but to time purchases and sales accordingly. That is one of Ralph's expertise. So since 2018, my group of investors in Noble Sky, under Ralph's guidance, have acquired 13 properties in New York and Florida states combined. Some of these we have achieved exits with fantastic returns. To draw an example, 6 of the properties we sold in Florida made us between 30 to 59% profit. And the 3 we sold in New York State, we were very happy with the exit, and one of them made us 85% in profits. So I want to thank Ralph, ICE, and the Noble Sky team for making my life easy as I venture into the real estate business in the United States. It's something that I can't do because I'm not in the US all the time, and they have been giving me returns that I will never dream of attaining in Malaysia. So if you have the chance to work for Ralph or work with Ralph and the Noble Sky team, do try and take the opportunity to do that as soon as you can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Datuk Sri Paul Chow. So you guys can look him up as well. He's very active in LinkedIn, not so much in Facebook, but you can look him up in LinkedIn. So even as a professional investor himself, he understood how services like Noble Sky International that goes into helping people buy properties in the US can help you get the type of very, very healthy returns, double-digit returns. And yet, you can be more or less hands-free while Noble Sky takes care of the rest of the business for you. Okay, so again, you can see Datuk Sri Paul Chan has been since 2018. He's still with us. Again, when you're into an investment that's consistent, that's giving you returns, most of the time you won't want an exit. You will want to continue to build on that portfolio, right? So this is where we are. Noble Sky is the only company in Asia. Really, you can look this up, that helps people to invest safely, securely, and profitably in US real estate. So if you understand how the market in the US is like and you want to take advantage of that, most people will not be able to do it on their own because they just don't know the ground. Whereas in our case, we have actual teams on the ground that does all of the property management, all of the research for you and everything. So we don't just do paper research, we have actual people who goes down and verify. So all this came from Rao's lessons, right? When he bought into the burned down properties and all that. So we took lessons from there and made sure that every time we want to go into buying a property, we send a scout down to have actual eyeballs on the property to make sure the property is still there and give us, what kind of repairs that needs to be done. So this is what we help people to do. And if you want to do US real estate, you probably won't find anyone else within Asia that's going to be able to help you get there. All right. So again, we've understood compounded returns. If this is what you want to be able to achieve consistently using US real estate, this is what Noble Sky want to help you to do. And we can help you get there, but we will only work with people who meets these few criteria. Okay. Firstly, you need to be someone who believes that US real estate can give you superior returns and can help you achieve your financial goals. Okay, so again, we all started this webinar tonight because we understood that we want to get somewhere in terms of the numbers, and we have a limited timeline, limited runway. We want it to be consistent so you can actually get there, so you can predict, right? If it's going to be up and down every day, that's going to be very, very challenging for you to plan. Point number 2 is you need to be willing to work in partnership with Noble Sky, and trust in their ability to deliver results. So if you have heard from the number of testimonials we've shared with you, they're real people. Some of them put in smaller capital, some put in larger capital, but our job as a company is to help you get that double-digit returns, no matter whether you're a big player, small player, big capital, small capital, doesn't matter. We do the same amount of work to help you get to your numbers, right? So you need to be able to work in partnership with us. Point number 3, you need to have the mindset of an investor and businessman. So understand we run this as a business for you, okay? We do all of the work for you, but understand that because it's business, there will be things that we may not foresee. For example, maybe because of COVID, right? What happened was suddenly movement of people became slower, more restricted. We were not able to move the labor work to repair properties as fast as we wanted. So there was a bit of a slowdown and things like that. So you need to understand that we run this as a business. There are certain elements that are outside of our control, but we will do to our best ability to ensure that you still continue to get to your targeted returns. Okay, so understand that is reality. Those are realities on the ground that you need to. If you're someone who has a very unreasonable mindset and you think you want everything to be guaranteed and things like that, it's not someone who we can work with. Okay, and most importantly, you take a long-term view. So you see the investors that have been with us, most of them is 2018. They continue to be with us some more, all right, although they've already been receiving good returns. Of course, some people we do have clients with us who because of COVID, they were hit, they lost their jobs and things like that, and they needed to liquidate, and that's fine, we can handle that, no problem. But given the opportunity, these people, as much as possible, these investors don't want to exit because they're getting the type of returns that they could never dream of getting in their local markets. Exactly what Dato Sri Paul Chong said. So you need to take a long-term view in this. Right, build it as a portfolio to maybe 3, 5, 10, 20, 100. So imagine the power of having this many assets is something that you can continue to earn from, you can hand over down to your next generation and things like that, right? And you're not seeking a get-rich-quick scheme. So if you want to work with us, you want us to help you get double-digit returns consistently, we want us to share with you how this is going to work for you and things like that, then this is the type of people we work with. Okay, there are people that we have had to reject because they are basically don't meet this criteria. Basically, they're not reasonable people. They expect the sky, okay? And it becomes a very difficult relationship, a very difficult partnership for us to work with you guys. Okay, so but if you understand the power of US real estate already, and this is something that you really, really want to work on and you want us to work with you, then very simply, this is what we need you to do. Fill in the form and let's talk about what your options could look like, okay? And the form is basically, I think my team members are gonna put in the chat very soon. Put in the, guys, if you can, you're listening, right? So put in the link to the form. So those of you who are interested to take this to the next level, again, understand right now I have nothing to sell to you. This is the end of my webinar already. Fill in the form that you have. Okay, Sufyan, thank you so much for sharing. So you can see in the chat, the form is there. Click on it, fill in the form. What this form does is very simple. It allows us to get to know you a little bit better. What is your investment goals? What do you want to achieve? And then from there, we will make a decision whether you are someone that maybe we want to work with or not. Okay, so if some of the questions you put in there maybe are very unrealistic or very unreasonable, one of the questions will be like, where do you see yourself in terms of investing, right? If you are saying that, oh, you only have 5 years, but you want to achieve 2 million, in 5 years you want to achieve 10 million, then that may be very, very unrealistic, and it may not be something that we can help you with. And for that matter, we will be happy to turn you down, and maybe you can actually look somewhere else. But otherwise, if you want to really discover options of how you can work with Noble Sky to make your life easy, to help you achieve the double-digit returns that you have seen a lot of the examples in tonight's webinar, go ahead and fill in the form. Okay, the team will take some time, at least tomorrow, to look through every single one of your responses. We're not going to skip any one of you. We're going to look at all of your responses. We make an evaluation from there to see whether you are someone whom we can maybe take that next step to work together and begin this journey in US real estate. For me personally, it's been amazing. And if you can see a lot of the other investors, because of how we've managed the investments for them in the US, it's really been something that makes a lot of sense. And if you are a serious investor, I think most of you are tonight. You've shared with me your numbers. You've shared with me that, why you're doing this. If you're a serious investor, you want to achieve your goals, all right, then you will know that you can't play it small, in a sense that you can't be looking at your 1.5% returns in fixed deposits. You can't even depend on your CPF, which pays maybe 2.5%. This will help cumulatively, but they are not the main vehicles that are going to help you reach your numbers. All right, so you need to deal with at least double-digit numbers, and then you can grow your money to something meaningful. Okay, so fill in the form. Let us know of your information that you have there. Don't worry, we're going to keep your information very, very private. We understand that relationship. First and foremost, we need to ensure that we respect your privacy. We will not reveal this to anyone. It's only privy to myself and some people in the Noble Sky team, for them to look and understand and then make a decision whether to get back to you. So understand that Noble Sky as a company will give you a return call, probably sometime tomorrow or 2 days after we are done with sieving through all of your information. And then we can speak after that, all right? There's no obligations here. Again, as I've mentioned to you, there's nothing that I have to sell you tonight. So I hope you're not disappointed, because most people, if they come into a webinar, they know that, oh, end of the day, somebody's going to sell me something, and like I have to attend a workshop or attend some coaching. This is not what we're doing at all. As you have seen, all of the people who have come in to utilize Noble Sky services, what we provide to you is a service that helps you get started immediately, to get your money working as fast as we possibly can for you, so that you get to reach your numbers as fast as possible. And that's how we want to build this community of smart investors, people who know that, who can identify where your monies can grow better and faster, and be smart about it. Because again, if you have numbers you want to achieve, but you're not putting it in places where it can help you get there, then basically, you're just wasting time. You're just being hopeful, right? But you need to take exact strategic steps. In this case, if you see and understand that US real estate is something that you can do, and go ahead and fill up that form, and we'll be happy to potentially work with you. All right. So again, before I end, don't walk home empty-handed tonight. Walk home. Don't leave tonight empty-handed. All right. Just share with the world out there. Help us make a difference with everyone else out there as well, to help them achieve their financial numbers, financial goals. Simply share why you are so excited about tonight. Okay. Are you guys excited tonight? Have you guys learned something? Okay, maybe while we are waiting for those of you want to fill out the form, understand, take your time to fill in the form. You got until the end of tonight, or even until tomorrow. By the end of tomorrow, we will check through everything, all of your responses. Okay, so you don't have to complete it right now, but go ahead and fill in the form. Okay, but at the same time, take this opportunity to get more resources from us. This is totally free for you. All right, you can have a free look into what we do and how we do things. Okay, just do this, share with us one thing about what you have learned tonight in your social media. Okay, so that more people can find out about this, and potentially in the future, maybe this is something that they can learn and do. And you're actually doing your people, your followers, your family a favor by sharing with them these very, very important lessons that you have learned tonight. Okay, so I hope you don't walk home empty-handed. Get these resources. Okay, if you're gonna take a bit more time, then just go ahead and take a screenshot of this screen right now so you know what to do next. Okay, and then you can take your time to do this. All right. So here we are right now. I got nothing else to sell to you or nothing else to give to you. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed your night with me tonight. Every time I do this webinar, I leave with very mixed feelings, because I know at least I've done my part. Firstly, to have already imparted some of the knowledge I have in terms of investing in US real estate, and the mixed feeling comes in because now, I'm really hopeful that people start to see this as something that they can potentially get moving, finally get moving in their financial goals. Okay, so use US real estate as something that is going to help you get there, and we'll, as a company, this is what we take pride in, helping a lot of people actually get to their financial goals. All right, so this is where we are at, right? We don't operate as a lot of other maybe firms out there that sells workshops and make you take more of your time trying to learn more and try to do things on your own, and in the end, the failure rate is very high. So we don't believe in that. We believe in helping you, holding your hands literally, and helping you get started in the US, right? A lot more information will be shared with you if you fill up the form. Okay, the form, again, the link is in the chat. Click on the link. It's a simple Google form. Just fill in your details and we'll get in touch with you. All right, guys. So I'm just going to leave 1 minute on the clock to take any questions that you may have. All right, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask any questions. Otherwise, I thank you so much for spending the night with me. This is a Thursday night. I know tomorrow for some of you, you'll be working, you have an early day, but you took the time to invest in your knowledge, in the possibilities and the potential of how you can achieve your own financial goals, the dreams that you have for yourself, for your family, for your retirement, for your children, right? You invested that time for the past 2.5 hours, right? And you can actually now make a decision whether this is something that's going to help you, right? So go ahead, the link is there. If I don't have any questions from you guys, I thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Spread the word for us so we can all help do good with everyone out there. And yes, let's meet up again soon, okay? So thank you so much again, everyone. Good night and take care. Bye-bye.